Live. We're going live. Hey, everybody. See if I can get it to bring up on this. I'm trying to get. Oh, there it goes. To bring up on this. Sorry, hold on a second. Okie dokie. Hello. Hey, consider it joy. How are you? Yes, we are. So behave. I was trying to pin a message if anybody wanted to chat. There is consider it joy. What's your first name? Consider it joy. I need to start writing this stuff down. So I got my notebook because I don't remember names very well. I'm going to start doing like alphabetical order.
Are you live?
Yes, go to your rooms. Do not hang over Mama tonight. Julie. Okay. Yay. Probably sure you're pretty. You probably told me. I'm pretty sure, but like I said, I'm really bad with names. I don't remember short-term memory problems.
Anybody.
I don't remember any. Well, you do. You just we're hard. It's kind of hard to remember names.
There's so many of y'all.
A bunch of newbies too. And you know, Miss Patty's a tinker. Oh, that's right. Loon. Whoop.
Hey, Miss Patty.
Indeed. Hey, Simply Blessed Ridge. What's y'all's name? I'm gonna start writing names down because so I can put in my book. Pretty sure it's on your channel.
We're taking names.
Amber, right?
Better behave.
Oh, she put Amber. We're taking names. Don't get in trouble. No, oh, we're so tired. We're glad it's the weekend. Are you glad it's the weekend?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
We're gonna have like a we're gonna have like a stay at home weekend. We have to go get dog food. That's about it.
Now they can get their stuff.
Jacob. That's who I'm trying to remember. Jacob. That's a unique way to spell Jacob. Hey, Lazy Days. How are you doing? Oh, gosh.
No, you don't have to stay very long. You can pop in.
How's Jay? Yeah, we were gonna do our giveaway, but I have to getting together a lot more stuff. I hadn't finished the stuff that I wanted to put together.
It'll be another night.
Yeah, but we're getting it together, and I want to get a gift card too.
We had to decide if we wanted to come live tonight.
Hey, all the things Acres. Can you give me your name? I'm writing everybody's name so I can remember.
All the things Acres. That's one I ain't heard of yet.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not the computer person.
Like I can remember when I'm on someone's page. There's Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
How are you doing, Eddie?
Out if we're in yet or not. I don't know.
Probably somehow. I think you said you were in Georgia, right, Eddie? I'm Jacob's mama. Consider joy. Ah. Where'd it go? Oh, and I wanted to. It's spelled different because I'm weird. We've made Liam's middle name different. It's our last little girl had my first name for middle name, and we tried to get Liam to have his first name, but he didn't have a Mac in there because all our kids have Mac in their name. So we did Mac Robin. So it's different. I have to be on Yogi Hollow Farm in 23 minutes. Oh, okay. It's okay. We'll try to catch their live a little later. I wanted to go live for a little while and catch up with everybody, see how everybody's doing. We are pooped out from our trip, and we got to do a lot of laundry and get stuff done. We want to plant some more. I just got quail eggs from a friend that I'm incubating. They're not in my hair.
Hi.
You trying to tell them hi?
Hi,
Hey, Christy. There's no little boys on this one yet. Oh, Oh, bad not at the end. No, sir.
Christy.
Let's see, Christy. Yes, Christy. Simply Blessed Ridge. How are you doing?
Oh.
Doing okay? Patty, you doing okay? Kids are arguing.
They always arguing.
If anybody wants to go live and tell us hey, or just stop in, you can click the link in the pinned comment. If you like, tell us how you doing. You can just talk to us this way, however you like. I need to just share this. Maybe I can share it from my phone. Let me share it real quick. But we are. Is there any videos y'all would like to see that I hadn't seen with some YouTubers or gardeners that you might want to watch? How to learn how to do. Pray for me. I have to go to the doctor July 7th for a lot of things. We'll pray for you, Eddie. Most definitely, Eddie.
Don't be making any noise.
Prayer. July 7th, doctor. Okay. Doing good. Pulled out some plants yesterday and just picked up a few more plants today. Just been tinkering in the garden some. I've been so excited to see everything grow. Hey, Jerusha and Robin. Wake up, boy wonder. He's awake.
I'm awake. I just got glasses on.
And he's trying to focus because it's those aren't as strong. I wonder not as strong.
Hey.
Hey, Stringfield. Oh no. Yeah, where they come in at? I just saw them. There they are. Hey, All Things Acres. Everybody support everybody. We got some great channels in here. Like let's see. Everybody pray for Eddie. If y'all can say a little quick prayer for him, he's going to the doctor.
No, hey, Miss Teresa.
And Miss Teresa and Lee. Lee, I loved your guitar playing. Don't feel bad. It was funny. Those poor little pig just went, whoop, where'd it go?
Well, it knew it was 8 o'clock. Trying to quit playing, so it jumped out of his hand.
Oh. It's
Not
so
Macy.
Macy, they didn't know when we're going. We are doing great, good. Willie. Just busy. We need to weed the sugar cane in my garden. It's like a ground garden. It's a whole bed of weeds we need to get done. Oh, it's okay, Teresa. It was nice. I like hearing people play the guitar. It's different. I like it. What was that comment? Oh, sorry, y'all. I was trying to go back. Patty says she goes to talk to her attorney Thursday. Oh, there she is. This week about an issue with the bank. And praying for. Oh, we're going to be praying for sure, Patty.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
How are you doing? It's nice to see your sweet face.
Thank you. We're trying to stay dry. We thought we were going to be going into like warmer, drier weather here, and we are in the beginning of an atmospheric river, and we don't know how long it's going to last, which means all that warm, wet
weather
that comes up from the Pacific Ocean. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have had a lot of rain.
Just keep the rain over, like covered over y'all constantly, huh?
Yeah, well, it runs through. I mean, it runs all the way from Northern California, all up the Willamette Valley, up where I'm in the top of Oregon. It goes up into Washington, and I mean, it's crazy.
He was talking to Eddie. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
But yes, that's a lot of weather that just comes and just dropped all of a sudden. How much y'all been having rain all day, every day, or
no? It had just been overcast and not really rainy at all the last few days. We'd had some sun breaks and that was nice, so we were enjoying it. But the humidity was up, which is always a good indicator for us that there's going to be a problem. There was even fog out here this morning, and in June having fog we just never get that. So I got online and looked to see what the reports were, and they said bad news. So, I mean, it's good for areas if they're getting it that have been in that very deep drought that we've had here in Oregon. So for that, I'm glad. But boy, I tell you, we have been soaked all spring. So.
Bet you it's nice for some gardeners who've been praying for it, but then in some areas it's probably just too much.
Yeah. Well, we can't. early blight. That's what's going to happen here with all the tomatoes. Nobody can grow
Oh,
tomatoes.
yes, that's what happened.
Like, and potatoes will end up with botrytis. You know, they get their the tubers will get botrytis because the soil is just too wet. Even a well draining soil can get too wet with this much rain.
It just mine. Remember that last year when I had all the tomatoes, it just rained nonstop for what was it, 5 days or more? And then all my tomatoes just died from the bottom up. I'm like, oh,
So we
That's why.
we need it right now, but it was just like my garden, my sunflowers are drooping. And even though I watered them, I
Yeah.
can't water them till late. This is Glenn and Jessica from Gathered Together just hopped in.
Oh,
Ah,
They're nice. They're a nice channel. They're pretty new.
yeah. So many nice channels. We just
Yeah.
don't have enough time in the day.
Try to mark down. Sometimes I'll catch lives with a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
The new ones have been going live early, and I like to talk to them because I kind of don't feel so alone with 6 kids in the house during the day.
I hear you.
And then he gets home and he's like, "You're on live. Who'd you talk to?" I'm trying to tell him who I talked to. I met a lot of new people.
I don't know who it is, but I'll listen.
He'll listen. He said, "I don't know who they are, but he's getting to know a few new people."
Yeah. Live streams are really the best way to get to know people when you're like I'm way out here in the West. I'm closer to a lot of you than anybody that's out here.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Even people I know face to face. It's weird because
That's like when we went to this homestead, people that we stayed in their house, we
They
came really close to them, like we've never, we never met, but we came like we've always known each other. It's
With
crazy.
those people for hours, just like we've known them for a long time.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? God just blesses this so
But
much.
they were blessing us, and we blessed them. So
Like her husband was going through a hard time, like Robin has gone through a hard time, and my husband finally got to talk to another guy that's had similar things. I'm like, that was just a blessing in itself. What?
Mr. Lewis says, how can you be alone with 6 kids?
Well, I mean, that's true, Willie. I mean, like mentally, like talk to an adult. Not like, Mom, can I have milk? Can we watch TV? Are we done there? Yeah, that kind of stuff, Willie.
The constant little voices in the background all the time.
Well, see, Gathered Together said, I'm with Jerusha. Glenn knows everyone. When we were on our way to Tennessee, we got to, where was it? It was
we got to just.
it was right in Alabama.
We went to Buc-ee's right there.
Buc-ee's at the very top
just before Atlanta.
before Atlanta.
Mhm.
And we stopped for a bathroom break, and the kids wanted to go. My husband from Mississippi, the South Mississippi, found someone he knew.
So, that's hilarious.
Only you would find somebody 5 hours away that walking through. They walk through the door. Hey, Rob! I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah. I always thought if I ever come to visit down south, that would be about what would happen to me, because I know so many people up here and people are traveling back and forth so much. And a lot of friends have moved down south. So yeah.
Mainly like in like the South with us, like Louisiana, Alabama, that far south.
I
Tennessee.
have friends in Georgia. I have some friends that are moving. I have friends that moved to Tennessee, some that moved to South Carolina, North Carolina. I mean, they're in the northern part of southern area too. So they're all over. I mean, it's crazy. And my granddaughter, she's marrying a guy whose family is from, what's it called? London, Arkansas, which is not far from where VW Family Farms is. Seriously.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just up the road. So, I got connections everywhere.
Chris said she doesn't really have any friends here. I moved away when I was younger and lost touch.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what.
That's kind of what happens with your younger friends.
I've been here all my life, and I've lost touch with all my friends, even my best friends.
Mhm.
And all I got.
Everybody goes through spells.
And y'all folks, which the difference between y'all, love all y'all, love to talk to you, but ain't no way to physically sit there and talk to you, or hug you, or shake your hand.
That's the only thing that stinks.
I know. I really understand that part. I was going to say, most of the people I know are younger than me. A lot of y'all could be my kids, because my son's going to be 46 this year. So,
hey, Mom.
Yeah, I adopt everybody.
Hey, Mom from another mom, like our YouTube mom.
I lost my mom in 08. So.
Whatever.
His mom passed away in 2008.
I don't have a passel of kids around me. My son's an hour away and has got the world's busiest life, so I don't hardly even talk to him. But yeah, so when I like the people at church, all the young adults, the young marrieds, all of that kind of stuff, I'm just, when the kids are born, here's Aunt Patty in the midst of them and all that stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's nice when you get to meet them, to meet everybody.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like who do we talk to a little while ago? I did talk to Nally from I done lost my train of thought.
Natalie from
Good
California.
Lord.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought with her channel name, but I talked to her a lot. She's just so sweet.
Yeah.
So soft spoken, and
Mhm.
that's the first time I got to meet her. So so nice meeting y'all, her and a few other people. And then let's see,
Where?
well, what you were gonna say?
No, I was just reading comments.
Oh, you want me?
no,
okay.
they were asking where they were at. I don't know if it was
Oh, in
over who it
Kentucky.
was.
They're in Kentucky. Glenn
was
and
Trisha.
Jessica, Stringfield Farm. Yep.
Yeah.
We're in Kentucky.
Yeah, the camera's kind to me. I may not look at. You
Oh,
can't.
you look nice.
That
You
gives
look
it away.
good.
The rest of it, maybe not.
No.
I have a young heart, so there you go.
There you go. I used to, when we first got married, I worked at a school as a special needs assistant.
Uh-huh.
And I was probably 20 when I was working there. It was a middle school / elementary. So when I would walk on the middle school side, I'd get teachers say, "Where are you supposed to be in class?" I said, "I hope this lasts till I'm 50." But I'm like, no, I'm 40 now. I got Gray going. Maybe it won't last. It's not going to last much longer.
When she was like 25 or something,
Everybody thought I would.
Madison told everybody she was
Oh, when I was
20.
30. She said, "Mama, you're 20, right?" So when I was 30, I still looked 20, which was nice.
Wow.
I
I
have
got
so much.
started when I was 35. I wanted to kiss the guy, No, but it was so funny because when I was a
Good life, yeah.
teenager, I could go into a bar without them asking for my ID. I don't know what the deal was. And I wasn't like out drinking a lot. I had a boyfriend who was old enough. So
That's how I was when we were younger, and we would go with friends. If what's your ID? I have to show you that I'm like 26 or 28. It lasted for a little while, not much longer than that. And I had a stroke. Well,
she said, I'm 53 and I've had a stroke.
Oh goodness.
That's a lot.
Yes. Christy said her son's 40. I didn't know she was old enough to have a 40-year-old.
Well, you're 40.
I am 40. So, hey, Mama YouTube Christy. Mama Christy. Gathered Together said, it's Stringfield. The man who lived here before was Mr. Stringfield. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that story.
Huh.
I always wondered about that story. I'm like, how do they name their channel? You always wonder about how people name their channels. We just named ours because, we got complete mania here with the kids, and Madison named it. Oh, let's name it Golf's Family. I'm like, let's try something. She goes, Golf's Mania.
Yeah.
Miss Patty's her oldest is 37, so she's our YouTube mama too.
I have
friends though.
I have a very good friend who is about 18 years older than I am. And I've always had friends that are like 10 or 15 years older than me, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
So that's nice.
I had a few older friends, not many. I like hanging out with the older ones because they were a little bit more level-headed.
I'm older.
He was older. I didn't really care to date guys my age back when I was young. I didn't know how much older he was, but the younger or my age were just stupid.
The man who lives here is lazy.
Yeah, I know. I know that. I know that feeling. There's just this lack of equality with what's the word I want to use?
It's funny.
Oh, I can't even think.
Like it's like mental.
They're just not as mature.
Comprehensive as some adults. I tell my kids now, even my kids, when I go around like kids that don't have the same, they don't homestead and stuff, and you're out with them, it just blows my mind how much my kids seem to be. They're not innocent per se. They're just more mature, more respectful in a way. And like kids my son's age. They're 14 and my daughter's 14, and they're like flipping the finger and all
let's
this
just
stuff
face it,
on
the new
TikTok. It blows my
the
mind.
younger generation just
Sad. We're trying to teach our kids, the younger generation, but it's sad to see other kids like just have no clue or concept for
but you know, you
manners.
can't.
Most of the people that I know that have their kids in homeschool, or they homeschool them themselves, they school them themselves and don't have them in the public school system, their kids are great kids. They've invested in them, they've taught them. And the other ones, the parents send them to school. Maybe they can't because they have to make enough money to have a place to live. You know, that happens out here a lot. And so the kids are just free range kids out at school, and
Mine are free range, but homeschool like free range, homestead rather free range.
right. But I bet when somebody says, you know, when somebody hears your name as mama, they're gonna go
My nephew actually fussed at my son. He said, "Why do you still call your mom mama? Why don't you just call her mom?" He said, "Because I want to, and she's my mama."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, that's just you know, you gotta grow up and start calling her mom." I'm like, "You better watch." He was just picking, I guess, more so with them, and he's 17, so there's a big age difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, you about got you're topped out there with us, but
Consider
yours are older
Joy.
than ours.
Oh, you
We have
got
one 28-year-old, 26, 22, 20, 20, 18, and 15. 1, 2,
Well, you
3,
got
4,
twins.
5, 6, 7. She got 7 too. Oh yes, that's the one I was following not too long ago, and I was telling you about all her kids, but I didn't know how old they were exactly.
Hi, Anna. Anna
We
Craig.
have free range. My son, my littlest one's definitely free range.
Yeah.
He'll go outside if he'll step in chicken stuff. He says, "Ooh, mama, look, it's dirty. I stepped in it. You gotta wipe it." Versus some kids are like, "Ah!"
That freaks out. That's hilarious. It is hilarious. Yeah. Well, it's so
There are a
funny.
lot of great public school kids, yeah, but like for instance, it's like a job they go to. And like when my kids were in school, I hated the fact that when my daughter went to school, even when she got sick, she had to catch up so much. But when they go to school, they come home, she'd be up to 11 o'clock at night doing homework, and I'm thinking that's just so rough on a kid.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the way that at Rory's place they had that little one room homeschool. I said schools were more like this, more like 15 or 12 teachers per kid. A lot of right, Jesse. We'll see you later. I think kids would be a little bit more invested in. I know teachers are stretched thin anyway.
Yeah. Well, the teachers here, I don't know what's going on there, but I know here, if a student attacks a teacher is not allowed to tell the parents. And they can be injured. They can suffer bodily harm, and they can't report it to police. I'm not kidding. Teachers it's a war zone. It's bad.
That's crazy stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I know if you're a teacher or if you or you're a bus driver, you cannot like confront them. You have to call the police. Like if they're being confrontational, you can't be like, you need to stop and sit down. I'm going to call like that. They have to call the police to handle it, which is it just blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's completely backwards here in our, it's that liberal mentality. And I mean, it's filtering into jobs and everything here. There's a great little brew pub here that's got excellent food. They have a lovely little restaurant. And my son and I went there, or my brother, he came by this week. And my brother and I went there this week, and they had like 4 people in the whole place. And it's a pretty good sized place. They're running a skeleton crew. And that was at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They still had to go through the night shift, and nobody was going to be there to work it. So because nobody wants to work here. It's really bad.
That's horrible. And why? It's just, we're in I tell Rob all the time, we're in a lazy day society. And then when you are a hard worker, like he has been in the past, for instance, he had a job, they changed hands, and they said, "Oh, what would you do to change all this to do better?" He said, "Well, I would do this. I'd put a portable, what was it? 18-wheeler
I can't think.
a container outside to store extra parts. This is how you need to store these bush hogs. Well, would you know, they let him go, like, what was it, 5 days later? And then when he looked back and he drove back down, they had did everything that he told them to do. I'm like, that
Yeah.
you don't appreciate your workers anymore, or they're just lazy. One of the two.
My son or my husband was so disrespected all the time by the companies he worked for. Saved one company $37,000. They barely said thank you.
My dad's done that.
$7,000. I mean, wow.
My dad's a machinist, and he'd make these big pistons for these big, huge machines.
Okay.
And when he would construct it by hand at work. And so, for instance, these are multi-million-dollar machines. If they had to order the part, it'd be like $100,000, some odd $1,000. Well, he would make it for them, and he would get in there and put it in, and they'd give him a $25 gift card. I'm like, are you kidding me? That he just saved you $100,000? Could you not like give him 1% of that?
Well, you know, the CEOs don't get their pocket change. You know, they don't. Yeah, I'm not going to.
That in turn makes the employers. Yeah, sorry.
See, most companies don't care for you, and I know the one I work for now does not give a hoot for nobody.
That's why a lot of them are. My son works for waste management, and they just consider the guys trash. They work until there's nothing left in them, and throw them out.
We could do something we don't want to do.
It's not just that. It's when you, for instance, you give them proof that you're not wanting to do this to your personal body.
Mm-hmm.
And they say they don't even take it in consideration. Even you wrote up this form and said, okay, this is my beliefs or this is my medical reasons. They deny everybody. No, the company doesn't care. And that's sad.
Yeah. Well,
that's what's happened to this country. It's what drives me crazy.
Businesses are, their only concern is staying in business and making sure that their bottom line is as low as it possibly can be, so they make as much money as they can to pay their upper management and keep the business profitable, especially if they are on the stock market, because they have to.
That's true.
That way. So, I decided I would never work for anybody unless they had the same morals about business I did after I worked in the horticulture industry and was, I was so taken advantage of, and they wouldn't even give us insurance or anything, and they were making all kinds of money, and I'm done.
Speaking of insurance, he has good health insurance.
That's
nice. But the thing is, he's got to have like his whole upper teeth worked on, and a lot of them pulled.
Yeah.
You have dental, and in order to get dental, you have to get into the union, and then to get in the union, you have to wait a year, and there's only like a $3,000 limit. By the time you pay a year and get your teeth done, it's just not worth it versus paying outright. But the thing is, the company has enough funds because they put the bosses, like the higher ups, they have full dental, full insurance. I'm like, why can't you just give it to the other guys that are making the same amount, almost maybe $5 less?
Say our government's doing the same thing. I look at people like myself that I'm on Social Security now, or even those of us that have to get insurance outside of that, we're not allowed the kind of benefits they get.
That just blows my mind.
It's such an unfair thing.
You're working as a teacher, not teacher. I worked as a special needs assistant before I was pregnant with Madison, our first, and during my pregnancy. I only made $800 a month. I was certified and all this, and then they would make you go substitute, so they would save money substitute, but the insurance was, I just don't understand the pay for teachers and people of that profession. It just blows your mind.
Yeah, it is crazy. So I was just thinking as I'm talking about this, because I just was reading this part of the scripture where, we're told that we're supposed to, even if we have a boss over us, as they say, a master, because we basically, when we work for people, we're like indentured servants, that we are supposed to do our work as unto the Lord. And so that kind of takes the boss out of the picture and puts Jesus where he needs to be. And so we're less likely to complain and harp on things. So I'm trying to remember to do that.
Yeah. And, people just, you said worried more about earning that dollar and making the company bigger usually.
Yeah, it's greed driven. It is.
And, one day it's going to revert back to what it should have been. It's just, you can see some of it's reverting back, but I don't know if they could save it at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, how things are going, and being out here where it's liberal land.
I
Um,
don't know how you do it.
I'm so glad I'm out of Portland, but even here where I'm at, it impacts this area too. We don't have the homeless pressure, and the disparity of the number of really, really poor people. Because there were a lot of poor people in my neighborhood, a lot of Section 8 homes, people getting government assistance.
Yeah.
And people didn't want to get off of government assistance. They didn't want to get off of one of the things that happened in the job market here, and it's still going on, is people can make more money on unemployment than they can working.
And that's why there's so many people not wanting to go to work right
Yeah.
Even though we have high wages here for entry level workers,
Yes.
some of the highest in the nation, and it just blows my mind.
Like you said, the homeless. What upsets me is, these people make multi-billion-dollars a year, and the government's always trying to send money somewhere else when they should be focused on the homeless. And if you're going to tax anybody, you should be taxing the wealthy to help provide for this homeless, because not all homeless people are grudgy people. They're really true people trying to get out of what their situation.
Yeah, and a lot of them are bound in drugs and alcohol and some people that were good people lost their homes, ended up, because it's so hard on the streets, they started drinking or using drugs just to soften the harshness of their situation. But also what I was thinking about when you were talking about government is it is really, our government is a business. It is not what our forefathers intended it to be. They're not working for us. They're working for themselves, and they give the people that they're pandering to people that they want to keep in their back pocket. That's what they do all the time.
Yeah, and it's sad, and you see it, and when people don't see it, I'm just blown on my mind. It's just, and Grandma's so happy, makes a good point.
That is a good point.
She said, what I don't get is how they can get unemployment without having to look for a job.
Yeah, I know.
When I was unemployed, I had to look for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And, but now they've got to where, hey, we just give them money, we just give them a check. So why they need to go?
Yeah, not everybody needs an award. Needs to be here.
Everybody gets a prize. Everybody gets a ribbon. Nobody fails.
On YouTube, not YouTube, on my Facebook, someone shared her daughter's award. We're going to get you're the award for doing the least but being the most.
You're right, Christy.
Something like that. It was something stupid where the girl felt, well, what do you mean? Well, I do the least, but it was some odd wording.
Wow.
And the daughter was upset. I'm like, just don't give her the award. Don't do that to children.
No, and they don't do the children any favors. That therein is that liberal mentality, that twisted, perverted mentality. So it's crazy. It's crazy. And I have a friend she's liberal, but she's not like a lot of the liberals I know. She's more into the sustainable living and all of that. And her children are free range learners, literally. Those kids are smart as whips. They could probably out-test most of the kids that are in school right now for the age.
I'm kind of like that. They learn hands-on, especially my son with his daddy working on stuff. They need more help. Like he needs more help with his handwriting because he's not very good, or he'll misspell certain words because it's just the way it is. But we're working on that. Hold on, baby.
Yeah. So.
And the problem is everybody learns different, and you can't cater to everybody because it's just too jam-packed. People expect too much from kids and have to test them to make their schools rank so high and everything like that.
Yeah, well, and they want to keep a certain number of students in the school because they get government money for every student that's in the school.
Exactly. Anna said, one problem, generation after generation after generation, is living off taxpayers' money.
Oh, you got to be kidding. Wanting to name your car Lazarus. Listen, that old red van of mine that I used to call Red Fred. I don't know if you remember that, Christy. But my van was always dying on me, always having flat tires. For like years this went on, and after Ben died, I had 5 flat tires in 1 year. That's when
But what am I doing, Lord?
I've got what I've got the RV, which is 78. My truck's a 93, and I just bought a truck for the twins to drive, which is
Later.
a 90,
Mm-hmm.
and and then her car's a 16.
Yes,
It's paid off. That's all we're needing. Somebody asked me the other day, "Don't you want a new
Don't
truck?"
your wife
Nope.
want a new vehicle? I said, no.
I don't want a new truck. I don't want a new car. I want to get my bills paid
Especially
off.
all the problems you hear
And I'm
everybody
done.
having with them.
Yeah. So hey,
Look, $80,000 for a new truck or $60,000.
They're getting to be
It's
ridiculous.
Robin, I want to. We had an old Forest Service truck. It was a Dodge, and it had a hydraulic lift box on it. It had a kit. I don't remember how much they are, between $5,000. That thing saved our bacon so much, and it was so much fun going to the dump. And everybody across the aisle, all the people that dumped were on one side, and the other ones that shoveled were on the other side. People gaping mouths, pointing, and going, "Did you see that?" And it was so funny. I love that truck. I love that truck.
I love them, and I'd like to have. I found one time that had dump body on it, but at the time I couldn't afford to buy it. And if I could have known, I sure would get it.
Good night, Glenn and Jessica. We'll see you
Yeah,
later.
that might be something to keep an eye out for. I mean, even if you can find I know around here we've got those places that have derelict vehicles that you can take parts off of, and then you pay so much for the kind of part. And Ben was always going there, and something like that. If you could find an old pickup that doesn't work, that's got a dump kit on it, hydraulic kit on it, and you can take it off, that'd be really sweet. And then put it on one of yours.
Yeah. We found what?
I'd have to
Just
buy
a
another one.
flatbed ones too.
Yeah.
You got a flatbed one that does that?
No.
We
I'd
found
like
one.
to.
He'd like to do one with a
Because
flatbed.
my
That'd be good
two
too.
bodies on them, I'm not taking them apart.
This is Annette from Australia. She says morning there.
Hi, Annette. I haven't seen her in ages.
We better make some coffee this morning.
Got your coffee?
Yeah.
But I told him I would love to have an old like SUV and we can redo it, or like a Scout like type
Mhm.
SUV, or a old like Volkswagen Beetle van. That'd be kind of cool to have too.
Oh, that would be fun.
One day we'll see. They have a Teresa. They got a you pull it, but it's called a you pull it too in it.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what they were called out here, but they were bought out by another company out here. But yeah, Ben had a shirt and a hat and all that stuff from him because he was there so much. Here,
Like, here, you're
you got to give me
a customer. Get a hat.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So
you're not
it's a bundle of money.
You have to be like if you
16.
find out if they get what you need, you have to get there and get it because
Yeah.
there's people that don't have jobs and that's all they do is go out there and strip them cars.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, they have to, and here they have to, I think you pay an entry fee to go in. And then you pay for the parts and stuff. So
It used to be $1 to go in, and then they give you a wheelbarrow or whatever you need to carry the parts, and they'll lift the car if you want to get transmission or engine out of it and stuff like that.
well, here a lot of times they'll do like take the windows out. If there's good tires on them, they'll take the tires off and stuff so that people aren't just taking all that stuff because they can sell them out of there for more money that way. And that way, if somebody like me, which I did get a tire from them one time, comes in, it's already there. They just roll it out to me, put it in my car, and I'm off and can have somebody I want put the tire on for me. So it worked out pretty sweet.
And that's different. Yeah, that's cool.
They do that with engines, and I don't know if they do it with transmissions, but I know they do it with engines, especially ones on cars where they run.
We were trying to get the camper road where we were looking for dually. We had to change the rim size because the rims that are on it are a rare
It
size.
has 16 halves on it. 16 halves are getting to be all
You 16,
obsolete.
yeah, the tires itself you can hardly order.
So I'm trying to get. I'll find some 16s to put on there.
Yeah, we're trying to do 16s, but getting rims, we're trying to find.
It'd be nice to get it going so we could take it to Kentucky, but I'm not sure I want to go that far
Yeah,
in it just quite yet.
Teresa in their place, and we want to get that ready, and then we need that, and you need a newer part. What was that part you needed on it?
Well,
That's a good idea, Christy.
I need to get a tire rim so I can have a real spare instead of a stupid.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
can get you a tire rim that goes to your vehicle just to, buy your rim. Then when you have the money, buy the tire or whatever. And put it underneath.
I don't know. I have Ben's old Isuzu Rodeo, and the tire fits up underneath the back because it's a 4x4. And so I don't know if the space under there is big enough for a real tire.
Mike can look up the specifics online. And see.
Sometimes they make those cubbies a little bit bigger than they should be.
Oh,
Some of those rodeos had a tire carrier on the back hatch. Yours doesn't have a tire carrier.
no, not on the back. No, it doesn't. So
You got a little runny nose in here.
no, I'm finally done with a cold I had for 3.5 weeks.
These two little boys.
We came back and they got like a little congestion and headache.
Hey, be careful with those.
12 eggs can fit in a
12.
carton, silly.
It's a dozen.
Count them though. We oh gosh, I got to do so much. We have so many eggs. I got hens sitting on,
Yeah.
broody hens sitting on a dozen each or more.
We're gonna be doing a separate video to post about.
Oh yeah, like
we're
our
gonna be talking
experience
about
that we
our
just
experience,
had.
who we met, what we met.
If we had like a
what we did.
blessing story we'd like to share with everybody.
Oh, good.
It wound up being real nice.
Yeah. I just found out from a friend that about a mile from here is a lady who has her own bees, and she sells like gallons of honey. I'm going to get a gallon of honey. And also she has eggs. So I'm so happy that I'll have a place.
I would love to find some. I'm going to try to research. I'd love to find someone local just to get beeswax.
Yeah.
Because, or honey, vice versa. I want to buy like a bucket full of honey. I did
Hey,
find
why'd
one
you do
company.
that?
I forgot. We went to the craft show. They
Yeah,
had
we got
honey.
it. We
I
got
might
it.
have to ask them.
You know what the pine?
Yeah, that we went to a festival. I almost forgot. I want to get beeswax because my daughter wants to start making these. It's like saran wrap, but it's not. It's natural.
Oh, the wraps. Yeah, where you use the
Yeah, the reusable wraps that are made with beeswax, and it's like an antibacterial because beeswax.
use pine because I've got a recipe. Use pine resin in them. That's what makes them more antibacterial. It's better. So I will find the information and send it to you. Also, and it doesn't affect the flavor of any of the food. The other thing is that she needs to be sure it's a very lightweight cotton and not too heavy.
Yeah, because I have a ton of like cotton. I don't have too many that are too heavy. I
Yeah.
have a lot of thinner cotton, and I said that'd be good for us to make to like go to craft shows with.
Yeah.
We haven't seen them down here, other than when we saw them at the
Did you
festival.
watch the video from the festival? She talked to that first lady that made them.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's a way that made them, and I've been actually wanting to make some because I've been seeing them everywhere else.
Mhm.
I've been wanting to try it. So when I saw hers, and she even sold like a little kit, which was cool. So I'm like, if I could find me a local farmer that sells their wax, I would love to do
We
that.
have a big ridge road down here, Anna. That's fun.
Yeah. I do encaustic painting, which is beeswax, Damar resin, and pigments. So I use hot wax a lot, and it's specifically beeswax.
My daughter watches a lady that does eggs with the
It's where they draw with it.
yeah, kind of how like you do.
Similar process, only mine are like real paintings. I
That's cool.
just need a place. God, please give me a place. I've got all the stuff behind me here. Anyway, what I was going to say is if she freezes the beeswax, it breaks up much easier.
Okay.
Than it will if it's soft. And if she just wants to grate it by hand, it'll melt better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
She
like all the kids could get on this with it. So I said, y'all could all get on it and we could go to those shows. And 'cause she makes the dream catchers. And I was trying to find something else other than winter when I make the hats.
Uh-huh.
I have to try to find like a common ground. And
Which,
the little girls can even help, which I'm trying to think.
We're gonna try to start doing stuff like that more to make more.
Yeah. And everybody tells me make my homestead shirt designs, and I hadn't done in a while. So I'm thinking about trying to do some of those. And
Yeah, I kept hearing that you were an artist, and I was like, I've never seen her do anything. Somebody was saying, well, you need to have her do your little,
I just did. I
Yeah.
had
Was the
I
thing.
helped out that lady that did that we stayed at. We were the first ones to stay in there. They listed it on Airbnb, but we were the first ones to stay.
That was one of our
So-
blessings. Was they ended up being. It showed up right about the time we needed a place to stay
For the price we
for
needed.
the price we needed.
Wow,
And
awesome.
to bless them, we were the first ones to actually rent it from them. So
Yeah.
So I kind of did her a quick logo of their home. Let's see.
Oh, sweet. That's nice.
There it is. It
Yeah.
looks like the house. So I do small stuff like that. I used to do. I could do artwork, but I'm more digitally. I could do digital stuff and sewing and that kind of stuff. But I hadn't done a lot more.
I can sew, but I never use a pattern. I make my own, but I haven't tried clothes. I want to start making clothes, so I need to get
Big rig Deluxe.
a machine. I've got all these things I want to do.
We didn't realize you're right down, not too far from here, Anna. I remember your name. Is this Anna Craven, the one that picked up the eggs?
I have no idea.
There's a bunch of them. Big Ridge Biloxi.
What are you talking about, Anna?
I wish I had bee wax to make more
Scoville?
salves. Yeah,
Yeah.
Scoville. Yeah.
That's
I want to make some calendula because I've been saying with calendula to do calendula salves with beeswax.
Yeah. If you can find some place that sells candle supplies and has organic beeswax, sometimes, and the more you buy, the cheaper it is.
Now.
I buy my wax online
And,
at Amazon, and then there's a place here not far from me that actually has candle making supplies, and their wax is
What road is that on? Is it on
Yeah,
the
that's
Ocean Springs end or is it the other end?
That's a good idea, Patty.
yeah. So yeah, if you can go in with somebody who needs to, this is the other thing, because not everybody has access to it, and they might want to, say like Christy, and you go in on a bulk order and then break up the bulk order with other people, and you save more money.
Is that your husband?
That's a good idea. I'm like it was hard to get people to like get on a book like,
That's
oh, I
just
want this
crazy.
much beeswax, I want this much honey. I'm gonna have to see if anybody would like to go in on. That's a good idea.
And have them prepay. Just saying.
Yes,
Have them prepay, because otherwise you get stuck with materials.
see,
Yeah, and then you can sell it to somebody else, but that'd be more work.
Oh yeah, I forgot she made you one, Miss Teresa.
yeah. I did make her another one because the other shirt.
You made Amber one?
I made her one and Lee a Brotherhood shirt, Homestead Brotherhood. I made Amber with the Hashkins Family Vlogs. She got one. Duncan 1900. She got one. Ray says he went to school with your husband.
Was that the Homestead Sisterhood shirt or something? I'd heard about that, and I was like, oh.
I did my walk back. And I have the group. I have the group on Facebook.
Yeah.
I had an app too that I tried to do a group, but no one really joined it because people were trying to steer away from Facebook. But then I had like 3 people, and that was it.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
could eventually pay to have, if you had more than 1,000, there you could eventually pay, and it's kind of like a Facebook group, but it's an app.
Yeah.
It said,
Again, Anna, your husband's name Raymond, right?
yeah, Ray says he went to school with your husband. He went to school. Ray Craven.
Raymond, Ray, Craven.
Crystal's online. I bought 2 pounds of beeswax. Crystal,
Oh.
Yes.
I bought 1 pound
Sorry, I know
on
who you are
Amazon. He says
I know who he is. So
he says he know who he is now, Anna. Sorry, he had to take a minute.
Yeah.
I'll write that beeswax.
what you got
We lived in one market.
And I'll find that recipe for the wraps that has the pine resin. I probably have some here. I should just make a care package and send it your way.
Oh,
But the only problem is I got stuff packed, and it's like, okay, where did I put it?
we have a tree that has pine that's dripping the resin from its bark. I probably could actually go over there and just take some from it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. This is like a powder.
Yeah.
They dry it and powder it. So I don't know exactly how that works, but anyway.
He says a headache.
I told him to go to bed.
He was checking on our little boy. He didn't feel good.
Good.
Well, he's had a headache and he had a little bit of a fever. Not what you call a fever, but I gave him some because he was just warm to the touch, medicine and time for his headache. And hopefully he'll just feel better soon. And, my little boy, he's got just a little bit of a congestive sound to him. Look, our two boys.
Mhm.
Crystal Honey Online. Okay, I'll write that down. Crystal's.
Honey online.
Got the Millers one down, and then they got that. Then they got that guy at the shed place that sells honey. And
Yeah.
then we got
There's a lot of local people that sell honey.
the lady. We got the honey from.
And I would just start asking around and see if anybody has any beeswax.
I go with my cabinet. There in the cabinet, the lady that we got it locally not too long ago. I'm going to see if she's got some because her sticker's still on there.
Because I get like the pelletized honey between
Oh, you can do the pellets.
10
I
and
bought
$12,
the
and it is it's not. Is it not heated? I'm trying to remember. There's no chemical process in
Anna.
it at all.
Good on you.
Yeah, there was organic
Thanks for the
pelletized
info.
honey.
And sorry it didn't dawn on me who y'all were. I apologize. I don't remember.
It was pelletized honey on Amazon. So I bought a pack to try to do the calendula salve because I was
I
collecting
didn't know you were a subscriber.
Just blame it on your age, Robin. You're getting to that age.
You're right. You're right. That's why I'm doing these things.
So that's why I can't. He can't. He's got
And he's also tired.
he's trying to read. He's got to have the readers.
every excuse I
I don't
can.
know where they're at right now. Look in the laundry room.
Thanks, Anna. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Anna.
Bye, Anna.
But
That's great. I didn't have any idea.
there's another homestead event other than Stringfields. It's called Ghost Coast Homesteader Meetup or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's in Milton, Florida. We thought about going to that one. But we'll
Mhm.
see. I know they said the Stivers were supposed to be going to that one. And Cog Hill was supposed
We
to go
got
to
one
that
right here in Richmond, about an hour away from us in September, the end of September.
Yeah, that's true. There's that one.
And they have it every year. It's Pecan Festival. It's really nice. It's kind of
It's
like,
kind of like a bunch of homesteaders
It's
come
kinda
with their goods and Amish products.
and they
and
got
stuff.
Oh, nice.
they
See,
got the old
Amish buggies.
horse-drawn equipment.
man, I wish we had Amish out here. We don't.
It's not they're not per se Amish, but they have like the Amish style buggies and they do the pulls
Okay.
with them.
They
and-
do the horse-drawn equipment demonstrations and stuff.
yeah, they sell the buggies. They have
I
like
think
booklets
so.
if
They
you
have
wanted
tractor
one.
shows.
You can own your own buggy.
Might have to before long, all right?
That gas prices would be
I hope
cheaper.
all my basset hounds up to it and them come on.
Really, I was gonna say it'd be cheaper to keep a horse that can pull the buggy than pay for gas. It keeps going up.
Yes,
I paid
We
I
got
paid
them.
$5.39 a gallon for my gas today, and it was $5.49 in Portland. It's always 10 cents or more. It was like $5.59 at one spot, but yeah.
it is. It's supposed to be $4.59.
Or is it just a picnic?
Yeah, theirs is a picnic.
The most we paid for on the way home was $4.61 because the gas station was off the road, off the beaten path, and because the first exit we got off at was a nice looking exit. When we got off of it, it didn't look too safe.
It's a
when we
little
got back
sketchy,
on.
so I'm like, listen, I want to go further down the road just a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's just I can't believe I wrote on like Facebook one time. I said the last time I've ever seen
Hey,
in
y'all
my
be
life
careful,
gas
yeah,
prices
okay?
above $4.50 or $4.50 at $4.50 was when they were price gouging for Hurricane Katrina.
Mhm.
That's the only time I've ever in my entire life I've seen that.
Well, I think this is price gouging anyway. They're calling it something
Yeah.
else. I think it's
Oh
manufactured.
yeah, it's the shortages.
Yeah,
but-
it's just like it just so happened that every brand of peanut butter had a recall. Every single brand, not just Jeff Piven.
And all those peanuts don't come from one source.
Well, the problem is, we're closing down this place and this place in our own country and this place. We're not gonna do this place. We're canceling this contract. I'm like, are you kidding me?
How about the manufactured baby formula?
And then, which
that one.
it's not our fault. It's the you people over there near Russia. This is why I'm like, y'all we're not stupid.
We're not.
Let's see, watching from Los Alamos National Library.
Oh,
Ooh, cool.
very cool.
Laboratory thermal test complex.
What? Thermal test complex? So what kind of thermal testing are you doing?
Yes, random channel surfing, he said.
Share. What are the aims?
607 is the cheapest gas in the area. Oh my Lord Jesus! They're talking about eggs being $12 a dozen before long too.
Yeah. Well, eggs here just the cheap eggs are $3 a dozen now, and organic eggs, if they're pasture raised, are between $6 and $7 a dozen in the stores, and you can find them on sale for, maybe $5, maybe if you catch a really good deal.
Yeah, I've seen them here in the store, like the organic. Was it organic free range? Which technically any egg from at the store is not free range, but like true free range, and they're like $7. And
Yeah.
I tried them on for $3.50. No one wants to get them. I'm like, I got fresh eggs.
I bet they won't be getting them now if they $12 at the store.
Yeah.
The one aim of these financiers is the world control. Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one of the good things Henry Ford did. Sure wasn't making vehicles.
He don't like Ford trucks, Valent
Not
or
the new ones. Not the new ones.
not the new ones. He'll take an old one like a 70 or something.
Yeah. Well, in Portland, they're trying to get everybody to not use their cars. So you should see some of the stuff they're doing with our roadways, how they're redesigning them. It is insanely stupid. That's all I'm going to say. I can't even describe it here because you would be so confused. And we're all confused when we drive on them too.
I'm confused. I'm confused with everything. Like, okay, there's been proof you can run oil in a vehicle and water in a vehicle. These people mysteriously passed away, but you can do this. But you can make something to put in your body in less than 3 months' time, but y'all won't focus on doing this instead for the country. I'm thinking
Eric from Kansas.
Eric from Kansas. He wasn't wrong. Yeah.
No, he wasn't wrong.
This is true.
See, the thing, there's nothing, you can't believe anything.
It's all money
Sometimes
driven.
you want to believe something that sounds good, but then it's not true. But then this other part, and where is everybody now? You don't see anybody here. Of course, we don't
I
watch
heard.
TV. We don't watch the news. What I hear
Go
from
get some
work and
napkins.
other places.
Yeah.
But
There's
this has got
Don't do
everybody.
no more eggs right now.
This has got everybody at wit's end. Nobody knows what's happening. Knows
It's
what's
not
going
just
on.
wits in. People are at each
Everybody's-
other's throats.
News. Fox News is starting to force the sexual thing now too, and and they used to be more not as, they weren't liberal before, but they're totally succumbing to it now. So, but there are organizations that are good news organizations, but they're just not the ones you see. You have to go hunting for them.
Help her, Lexi. People are I know people are like, oh, we don't need God and this all in our beliefs. People don't believe in this, but that's the problem with this country. They strayed so far away from just moral compasses are gone.
Mhm.
And the other day, my kids were asking about why do people get rid of babies, and I showed them a video of what's going on and how they're really getting the stages, and they said they got rid of a baby that's like at birth. Like, yep.
Yeah.
And it showed how they did, and they're just astonished. Just your moral compass is just is gone on everything. I'm thinking, this can't.
Well, they're given over to a lie, and they, because they.
Pick that up, bud.
Sorry, don't do that. Help them, y'all
Hey.
girls. Help them.
Pick
Sorry.
up the paper towel.
They dropped
She's
an
making a
egg.
mess with them.
Oh no!
Help them pick it up. Though.
Slimy mess.
Get the paper towels off the floor.
Yeah, our nation was founded on God and just principles in general, like moral principles that were based on God's principles. It's just
Somebody I was listening to on YouTube the other morning, he was talking about how there's like spheres of blessing that God puts. Like he was talking about Israel and how Israel had this protection over it, and that the people around them had a protection because they were following God's laws that were impacted them, like the 10 Commandments. They had a good moral compass, and so they were at peace. And
Yeah.
God's covering was over them too, because they were following. And the minute they stopped doing that, then they were going to idols and destroying their children and all this other stuff. And so that's when they were put to death. That's when they were annihilated.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, don't do no more
Well,
eggs.
you
Hold
know,
it.
I tell people that if they want to know what's going on, read the Bible, because everything's happening has got to happen before he comes back. But he is
Exactly.
so merciful and so powerful that all this evil is not going to prevail. It's going to be a time where it's going to stop.
It's gonna run rampant.
And we may have to suffer, and everybody's going to suffer, but it's going to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Amen.
We have family members, oh, we're gonna be raptured, and I'm like, there's gonna be suffering. That if there was a Holocaust, there was all these severe,
Did y'all get it cleaned
like
up?
evil, murderous times on Earth. It happened, so it's gonna, you're gonna suffer. People are gonna suffer, but the
Hey,
problem
good
is people
time,
can change it. You can say, oh no, this isn't right. We don't need to do this, and it's just now we're at the point where we got to make everybody happy. And
Oh yeah, it's a people pleasing.
Oh, thank you. And
Eric?
Valiant for joining our
yes,
chat.
Aaron, thank you for coming in and saying hi. Yep, I was trying to go back through Christmas.
We're treated like mushrooms, kept in the dark and fed manure.
Slept on.
Oh,
They can
like
at least pick us and eat us.
ooh, that's ugly. Let's squash it.
We just like those little ones you cook in the yard. That's like a little puffy dust comes out of them.
Those are
There's nothing
poofy
left.
mushrooms. Someone told me the other day, anybody can believe in God, but
Yeah,
people say they're following Jesus.
yeah. And people can believe that Jesus was real, but they get caught on this Jesus being the Son of God thing, that he was God in flesh. He was both man and God at the same time.
You see, the thing that I understand, I know a lot of people at work, and I got friends that they know
exactly
who God
consider
is.
joy.
and they know God, but they don't know God. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They could have been brought up that way, but they've got so far away from it. They're going to talk like they know,
Yeah.
but they don't want to show that they know.
It's not like that. It's like
The difference between believing in and trusting in something versus knowing about it.
Like us, we ain't got nothing but trust and faith in, because everything we've been through, we got no reason to doubt it.
Amen. I would agree. I'm in the same place. When you get down to that place where you can feel the bedrock of your faith under you, God's got you.
Oh yeah.
It's a hard place to be, but it's an amazing place too. I remember doing that. That was like when COVID hit, was actually before then. It was Christmas, New Year's, and then when COVID hit, all that whole time, man, I felt like I was on a hardwood floor and that God was right under me and he wasn't going to let me go.
yeah, it was that first year we had not first year. It's like the first days where you're just in complete. I guess you're in shock, really. Like you're living.
Christy, I understand. I work with people that do not believe that there's a hell or a Satan. They just believe that there's a God.
It's just like those first few days were horrible. Like I tell people like I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm like, you don't want to imagine what you're going through, but it happens to people. And everybody tells me, well, how did you get through it? And well, my kids helped me get through it because I knew they had her survive too. I couldn't. I guess if she was our only child, we couldn't have.
That's true.
We couldn't have done it. I don't think we wouldn't mentally as strong or other strengths. But I tell people, like, there's another mother, our friend Karen in Canada. She knew a mom who lost her infant, her number 7.
Oh,
I think he was 8 months old,
oh
and
my.
she's like, she is in despair right now. And I said, at some point, she's going to have to come to realize those other children and her husband need her there mentally.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to grieve, but you got to learn how to not let the evil one put you in such a pit of despair where all you see is sorrow, all you see is grief, all you see is just negativity. Because like you'll come into, like, I'm sure it's happened to you after the fact. After I lost my daughter, my dad came and he was in such sorrow and despair of losing his granddaughter. But it didn't occur to me till like 3 days later, because I was in such sorrow that my dad lost a son back like so many years ago, and I knew my brother died, but I didn't like put two and two together at the moment. I'm like, you're not alone. That's why I try to tell people.
Yeah. And it's every loss is different, and the loss of a spouse. Like my dad lost my mom 10 years before he passed away. And I didn't have the bandwidth. I always say this. I didn't have the bandwidth to understand where he was going. My mother was my best friend. So it was really hard on me. It was hard on him, but I didn't understand the depth of what he was facing or going through. So
Yeah.
he was up in the Yakima Valley, and I was
My
down
daughter
here.
was my best friend, but you don't understand no one else's grief because everybody grieves differently.
That's right. You know,
Work for Jesus. We all need to be doing that, and that's so true what you say there. But
We need compassion in people in this country, and it's lacking severely.
I agree with you too, Valiant, about it being run by idiots. Very true.
that's very true. I was laughing. I was chuckling about that when I saw that earlier.
I lost my mama first, and that kind of took that
That was
hit
an
me
emotional
pretty
blow.
hard.
But when God shows you signs, like our daughter Madison, she was 3, and we had the twins. They were 10 months old. We'll just tell you a quick story. So we left the hospital, and he told his mama, "Okay, it's okay to go. We're gonna be okay." So we got home, and right when we went to sleep, because we were up all night because she had a stroke in the middle of the night.
Please don't break any
They drove her to
more.
the hospital. We went
Careful.
there. My parents drove down to sit with the kids. We lay down. It was like 20 minutes. We were asleep, and then we hear the phone go. That's when we had a landline, and we hear the phone call. And my mom came in there and said, "Robin, honey, your mama has passed away." But she said the weirdest thing that happened, the twins woke up like I think 10 seconds or more before the phone call, and
Wow.
were calling out for her, nanny. I'm like, she came by to see them. And our 3-year-old Madison sat down. We had to explain it to her. That was the hardest thing we ever had to do as parents. And second hardest. First hardest thing. The second hardest was telling our kids about their sister.
Yeah.
But she came and she sat down outside of the house. She said, "Where is Nanny?" And we said, "Well, she's in heaven with, she's up in heaven or in heaven with God, and she's all healed now." And she said, "Oh, can we get our car? We need to get our car to go get her." We're like, "We can't drive to heaven." And she said, "No, we need to get wings on our car to go get her."
Oh my.
The night our daughter died, my 3-year-old Macy, at the time she was 3, she sat on the steps. She says, "Where's Madison? Is she in heaven?" And she said, "She's up there in heaven, right?" I said, "Yes, she's in heaven." She says, "Mommy, we need to go get our car. We need to get wings on our car to go get her." And it was
Same
just,
thing.
it was just, God's like telling you, he said, "Here are
Thank
your
you, Valiant
signs."
Thor. We appreciate the subscription and like and stopping by.
Yeah.
Join us
We
next
try
time.
to share our faith. People say
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
you can't always go to church to have faith. Go always, read the Bible. You need to show Christ through you.
Yes.
And we do our very best to show Christ and give people hope through us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a testimony, and you'll hear more about that because we shared this with some people over our trip up there.
and that's not the I need to have like a little movie series of these stories so I can remember them and my children can remember them because I want to explain it.
Mhm.
Even when my daughter was little, she was really in tune, I believe, the spiritual realm, like just angels and just beings watching over you, because she would see things that you couldn't explain, hear things you couldn't explain, and we were just like, okay, you still have angels watching over, it's okay. And like when I was a little girl, I went through a hard time as a little girl, emotionally and family wise.
Mhm.
I would have a lot of evil spiritual attacks. When children have so many attacks, they see like evil.
Yeah.
So I would dream of,
Well, that's good news, Annette. Congratulations.
I had a dream that a man came to me with fire in his chest. He was black with fire in his chest. And the time we lost his mama, my daughter said, "Mama, I had a nightmare." She came screaming. She said, "There's a man with fire in his chest trying to get me." And it's just those moments in time you're like, okay, God, I'm listening.
Yeah.
You're trying to be like, I'm watching what you're telling me. I'm trying to do what I can
Yeah.
to.
She's got a discerning spirit.
Yeah, she did. Our little girl, Macy, did too.
Yeah.
And we've caught things. We had before we moved here, we had to have cameras because we had drug heads next door.
Hey, Belinda.
Hey. And she would hear things, and even when we moved, it traveled with us.
Uh-huh.
And we put our camera up. I kept a camera in here, when we worked on the property, because we were working a lot on the property, and just to keep an eye on the kids when they went in and out of the house. But we caught some on camera one night. She had a nightmare. She screamed bloody murder. I went back on the video. You could hear people talking. I asked my daughter, I said, "What are you talking to your sister in your sleep for?" She said, "I wasn't talking, but when you go back, now I can't hear. I had the clip, but now you can't hear it no more." And it says, "Stop! Oh, no! Hey! It's don't. Can you help us?" And she would say people would come to her in her dreams asking for help, and Madison would have a uniform, like a rainbow uniform on, protecting her at night. And I'm like, yeah, it's just how some children are just spiritually in tune with like the heavens and earth.
They can also be approached by satanic spirits too. That's one thing, and especially with children, as parents, you really need to be cautious about that kind of thing.
Native American
look like spirits of light and be satanic. So that's one thing. You'll hear people that have been in New Age and all of that stuff that have had those kind of experiences, and it's just, I have a friend who, since she was a child, has seen people who, spirit people.
Madison did up till her departure from this earth. She would see. I wouldn't freak out. I mean, I've had stuff like this as a kid. I don't remember all of them, but I remember some.
Yeah.
And Madison just had it up till her departure, and Macy's had it. Not so much my boys.
Yeah.
Been mainly the girls, and you miss your sister. We miss her too, honey.
Yeah. Well, this is like with my friend Carol. She's involved in, witchcraft and stuff like that.
Yeah, that we don't.
So yeah, she's somebody I need to go over, and I need to share the gospel with her again. So
now Christy asked if we were Native American. I have, which is not on record, and my dad's even done the genealogy testing. But I have been told by my elders in my family, my great aunts and a few of my great aunts, that I had a great grandmother who was Native American. She was a Cherokee, but you can't find it like on your blood work. But there's documentation. There was like one photo. I don't know where the photo is now of her. Now on his side, his mama said there's supposed to have been some on his side, but Gauls, derived from Germany. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't.
I'm German too.
Like when I look back, when you try to find the name line, it comes like from Ellis Island, how the Gauls came up from Germany.
Ellis Island, right?
But we're told we have Native American in somewhere, but we're so Scottish, Irish, English, it washes it out, I guess. But
if you looked at my skin tone, you probably think I was actually full blood Cherokee or Choctaw or whatever it is I am.
His mama now has said that they have Native American on their side. So,
well, I know Ben was he had some Indian in him, whatever's down in the Missouri area, because that's where his family's from. But yeah, he had some. He was like 1/8.
Yeah, she said Cherokee won't show up in DNA because their body fluids were considered sacred, so they would. A lot of them didn't get blood tests. Like,
yeah,
it's rare for them to find Cherokee. But I know I have it.
Some visions, and then they happen.
Now I've had that.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my dad's brother passed away, I have like eagerness. I woke up that morning. I told him, I said, I don't have a good relationship with they're my half brothers. So my dad had two, my mom had one. They got married and then had me, type kind of thing.
Carefully.
When my oldest brother, one of my brothers died, will you stop? He was in a severe car accident, and that morning I went to work. I told my husband, I said, I just really want to have a relationship with my brothers. I need to see them. I don't know what's wrong, but I really need to see them. And I go to work, and probably 30 minutes after I get to work, my dad calls work. They send me to, like, your dad's on the phone. I thought something about my dad's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? He said, Shannon has died, which was his oldest boy. He's died, Jerusha. Your brother's gone. And that hit my dad hard. And even though his relationship was poor with him because of, relationship issues with the ex-wife, it's just weird. You have that eagerness. And when his mama passed away, a storm was rolling in. And she wanted to see the babies, which was the twins. They were 10 months old in Madison. And then weather came in. I'm like, we really need to go see your mama. She really wanted to see babies. And so he called her and said, Mom, you want us to come over? She said, no, it's about to be bad weather. Don't worry about it. But I had that eagerness between things. And then what's weird is when it's like what happened with Madison, it was odd. But you get like an eagerness, I guess, like someone.
You feel like there's something that you need to, a reason to see.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. And some people don't listen to that eagerness. It's kind of like your subconscious or God just trying to prepare you.
I would say it's the Holy Spirit that is
They're there with you at that moment in time.
On something, because you can do that when I've had friends that were going to make bad decisions, and God was like, you need to, the Holy Spirit is just impressing on me that I needed to go talk to them.
Yeah, I've had that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really the Holy Spirit in us. So I think that's really cool, when God does that kind of stuff.
Yeah. When I think like that, I have to pray, because it's like, I don't want it kind of, when you have that, I've had it twice in my life. And when you get it, you're like, dear Lord, please, prepare me. And you don't want it to be close to you. You don't ever want it to be close to you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how your mind and the Holy Spirit and how God and it all works out.
Yeah. Hey, Christy. So I'm curious. There's two terms. This feels like a kind of a mix up in terms. We hear Pennsylvania Dutch, which is there's actually Dutch people in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You're saying Deutsch, which is German. Deutsch is German. That's the word. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Do you speak German?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Yeah, sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein, or bitte, little bit. So are you German by heritage? I'm like, she's sitting over here, right?
Yeah, we're like, hey, what are you, be nice, wouldn't it?
What is 6 plus 6?
6 plus 6 is 12, honey. Okay. Count them.
12x. We're counting.
But yeah, people, it's like your subconscious too. When people have like bad feelings, oh, don't do this. Just listen.
Yeah. So I know that, one of the things I've been really, I don't know, I guess I've been kind of hot on it because, in the progressive Christian circles, the ones that are taking in like new age practices and stuff, and there's a lot of them, believe it or not.
My grandfather's family, she said.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, they talk about, follow your heart. Well, our hearts are deceitfully wicked. You want to follow your heart, or do you want to follow the Lord? This is what I'm looking at. Because I used to be really emotionally, manipulated by my own emotions. And so I really am careful with those kind of things when it comes to, how I feel in my heart. But there's this sense of the Holy Spirit coming that's completely different than when it's.
She said she's also Saxon, Irish, and Cherokee.
Yeah. I'm Saxon. Saxons were in Germany, they were in England, they were all over. In Ireland and Scotland, they've actually have been found in Mongolia. You ever see anybody with a red beard? That is Saxon blood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Karen, the busy little house.
Yeah.
She had a gray beard.
Gray beard.
Our brother, they have Irish and Scottish, but he's got like a full red beard.
Oh yeah, my uncle had one. My brother doesn't. I'm surprised he doesn't.
Misplaced guilt.
Oh,
I struggle with that, especially if you lost someone and you couldn't do nothing to stop it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Like you have your moments. Okay, I couldn't have changed this. I can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have your moments. But what if it was just so many minutes sooner? Or what if I did this different?
And truly, I think the enemy wants us to sit in that place when in reality, it's God that knows exactly when, and it is already determined in our life when we're going to be called. away from this earth, So I think that's the thing that saved me with Ben, because, oh my word, there were so many things I could have felt guilty about, and I couldn't go there.
Yeah, especially when you have.
What happens to me is the kids, they tell me I can fix anything. It's like, I can't fix everything. I couldn't fix that.
They tell him that all the time, and even
I
5 years
can't
later, he's
fix
like,
that.
"Well, I couldn't fix that." I'm like,
Yeah.
I couldn't fix either. I'm the one that was doing CPR. I'm the one that forgot the EpiPen. I tried to tell him it's not just that, I'm the one that didn't go in. I should have known better. And you don't ever, like, I would have never thought her to an asthma attack. Oh, she's going to grow out of it. And I tried. That's why we try to tell people. My daughter died in less than a minute and a half. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And just her body just failed her going to the hospital. Her body failed her. She had 2 cardiac arrests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's her body failing to that point. They couldn't bring it back. And,
Makes it seem.
Yeah. Well, Robin, when you were talking about your kids saying that you can fix anything, and that comment surrounding that, Ben, I sincerely believe it was his own. He distrusts doctors and everybody that was telling him what he should have done that could have saved him. And he tried to fix himself, and he couldn't. And that's when he failed. So it was, that's what happens. So, and that's, he could fix everything else.
We just had Liam, and we were even talking when he was a couple of days old. There's something else going on with her. We know, and we were talking about, okay, we need to go see maybe a heart specialist. We need to get her heart checked. We need to get like other things checked, because we knew something else was going on. We just didn't have the time. I mean, time gets in the way, even though she was okay up till that point, but it just, life happens, and God's like, this is the way it's going to go, and it goes that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we have dreams or visions or any of those kind of things, if they're in line with the Word of God, if they're in line with the Bible, then it's all, that's good. That's good. Because there's times they're not. I've had some pretty strange things that somebody would say, friends of mine had years ago would say, "Oh, that's such an amazing dream from God." Christy mentioned her dreams. And I was like, I didn't feel right about that, and if I went in and I'd look at the word, it would be something contrary, and the dream would be leading me to a place that was contrary of what God's will was.
It's not only that, like, I had a wonderful dream. It started off wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That I found my daughter, and I don't remember where I found her, and I turned around, she was there, and it's like, "Oh, hey, Mama," like, oh my gosh. And I saw her, like, her age at that time, and her hair, and I could smell her. And it was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "But you've been gone. You died." And she said, "What do you mean I died?" And somehow we were going home. And, the evil one will step in those dreams that God's trying to give you a little sense of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, I don't know if he started snoring in his sleep or something, but it sounded like she was gasping for air again and gurgling. And then she started dying in the backseat of the car. And I woke up in a hysteria. I had to go outside and get air. And I said, it started off wonderful, but it ended in a horrible way. And that's just like, your dreams could be visions from, God and, the Holy Spirit. But then the evil one still will try to slip in there and destroy all of that.
Wants to ruin our peace.
Yeah, that was a little bit of peace I had, and it had to be destroyed by the horrible aspect of what happened. Yes, I remember you having a dream too, but yeah.
Yeah, somebody else can get up here and flap their gums like.
Oh, we like talking to Miss Patty. I just added it because some people want to chime in, but a lot of people don't want to go on the camera.
I know, it's not. This is fun up here, you guys.
Without having the video, you could have just the mic.
Yeah, you don't have to have your face up here. You can actually. They're down here at the bottom. There's little things that stop camera. That does that.
Yeah, like that. It's nice not to know you're not alone, and people have the same thoughts and dreams and prayers as you do. And
I don't know what I would have done all those months after Ben passed away without y'all on YouTube.
Oh, I know. Isn't that amazing how it brought you full circle to your support system?
Yeah.
And it blows my mind how my support system got brought to me even after the fact, because I felt alone and I felt depressed. And then
Yeah.
I make friends, you know.
I don't physically have anybody close that I could talk to.
Mm.
But when you do, you find some.
when I find somebody like this fella we met up there in Tennessee, it was awesome the conversation we had.
Like they've been buddies forever,
But
and
I've lost-
the guy felt the same way, and it's pretty
I've lost
amazing.
a lot of my sense of humor in my old self when I lost Mama and lost Madison too.
Yeah, that was his joke buddy, and he'll joke from time to time. And people are like he don't really say much. I'm like that's just him
I'm very
now. And
quiet
it takes
now,
him
I
it
don't-
takes him a little while, like to come out of
Mhm.
like to talk out of a shell.
I said, I'm waiting for that moment. I'll jab you. No, I just, it's so funny. I can talk real easily to you. The one person who it really kind of struck us both how much we are alike and how well we get along is Patty Gilbert. That girl is like my sister. I mean, it's like we came from the same place.
She's so sweet. My son says she's like an older version of you, Mama. You and Daddy. I'm like, I hope so because they're great people.
I get
Yeah,
along pretty good.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's good. He's easy. They're easy to talk to.
Oh yeah. And Mac's hilarious. He's so funny.
It's just like we tell everybody, community is what you find in people like that. Even though, sometimes you'll lose friends or they don't have the same vision as you. When you meet people like we met you and everybody else, it's just a different type of community.
It is. It is.
It brings the
Kind of like the
Let's see,
spiritual
anxious-
side of everybody together
it
too.
makes us want to actually physically and personally meet and hug and talk and stuff because maybe one day it will happen.
Yeah. There's a kinship.
Too stupid and nothing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Showing Patty a different direction than Oregon. You never know.
Everybody's like, well, I had people, I remember when COVID was on and we were having all the riots here and then we had the fires. I had all kinds of people. Well, I shouldn't say all kinds. There were a couple of guys, especially. One of them was Mark Smith, the Arkansas woodcutter.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, he's actually been up here and met me when he was
Cool.
when he was doing delivery of fifth wheel trailers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he stopped by the house and we had dinner together and all that stuff. But he says, if it ever gets bad up here, I'll be coming to pick you up and take you back to Arkansas. Yeah. And then another there's somebody else over in North Carolina has been the same way. And I'm like, I don't know if I could survive the humidity and the heat back there. So
I told my Karen that in Canada. I said, like when everything was going right, I said, if you could find a border, I would find you. We'll do something, and I will hide you. You'll
Yeah.
be fine.
I know.
No one's going to come to the South for a while. We're the
No,
last
I
people
tell ya.
standing.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm looking at going to look for someplace to live, like a manufactured home or something.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, do I really want to spend that money right now? Or do I just want to wait and see what happens in Oregon to see if it gets like really worse and I'm going to need that money to move somewhere else?
Maybe that maybe in your head is like God saying,
Yeah.
okay, Daddy, that this might
Well,
pass. Yeah.
regardless, God's going to take care of me.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
that's what I tell everybody.
Mhm.
Don't worry about it. That's what it come down to my job and stuff. I was like, you know what? He got me here. I was kind of stressed out about it at first, prayed about it, and all of a sudden, all that worry went away. And it was just eased. I'm just like, it'll be all right.
Well,
I'm
we
just
were
gonna
the only thing we were worried about was like insurance and income because we wouldn't have it. I'm like, okay, but we had an unusual sense of peace with it. Like, okay, it's gonna be okay.
And I've been.
Versus, how you get freaking out anxiety over something like that.
We have a travel trailer, a camper here if you need to
Mhm.
come back here and stay with
Yeah, we have an extra little place. So if you need to run,
us.
If I need a time out of here just so I can stay safe.
just message us.
Oh, with my situation here, I've got this weird thing going on where I've got a situation with a bank that I'm calling.
The lawyers and stuff.
Yeah. And then not knowing where I'm going to live. And I won't know how much money I'm going to actually have until that's all sorted out. I know I have a big chunk, but I could have more than a third again of that. So I can have,
You have your worry where, okay, if it's going to give me with not much at all, or if
Yeah.
I'm going to come out on the top side of it. With
yeah. And
just enough or more than enough.
Yeah. And I mean, God has blessed me in so many ways, but this would be phenomenal because I have lived from, from check to check and on fumes for so many years when I was living with my husband. And even to where I was working full time and doing all the house and all this stuff and trying to kill myself just to be the savior of the home because he didn't have that capacity.
He just worked what he could work, and then he worked as much as he could work, and then
how his brain operated. He was like ADHD genius guy, and he couldn't focus on anything. And it was
like us in 2008 when he lost work for 10 months, and then he tried to make her do whatever he could to work, and then I didn't just sit on my tail like, oh, I just
yeah.
If it didn't work. I had the kids. I still made hats. I crocheted hats. I sold hats. I did what I can to try to pick up the slack. Even though he didn't want me to.
Yeah. And when I got sick, what's it been, 20 years ago now, I couldn't work. My back was bad. I got fibro and all this other stuff. And it was really bad. And then the emotional struggles of stress I couldn't mitigate at all. That made it really hard. So, going through menopause and all that was so much fun with all that other stuff. So
on top of everything else at the same.
My doctor said,
Lord, really?
Yeah, I know. So because it was my desire and I wasn't afforded the place because of how Ben viewed the house, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Just the way he was. And I don't fault him for any of that.
Oh yeah.
It really refined me though. I will say that. So, but we'll see what happens in the future.
You're going to get directed by a guy.
Oh, absolutely.
You need to be.
He won't let me go one step forward if it's out of his will. Literally, he will shut me down.
You'll be that. It'd be like, oh no. I'm like, okay, God, that's not what you want.
I'm just like, okay, I know that. I know what that was because I've seen it a lot of times in the last 2.5 years. I know exactly. Because I used to be like the wild horses it talks about in Psalm 32, where it says, don't be like the horse or the mule who won't stay near you without bit or bridle. I was the wild horse running off in every direction, finding all these great things to do. And I was going to be this and that and so forth and so on. Yeah. So God's like, whoa, pony.
I look back at in 2008 when we bought this property in 2006, and I was making decent money. We went to talk to a contractor about a house, and within a week or that day, whatever it was,
we had an appointment that day with the contractor.
I lost the job, so I canceled the contract
that day.
If I'd have took that contract, we'd lost it all.
Wow.
For some reason, we kept the property, and it took us forever. We was fixing to sell this property in 2018 when we moved up here. But God opened that door, and he got us up here.
All right, now it probably could sell
now.
Oh, absolutely.
We're hoping that maybe we could sell and go somewhere else.
We want more land eventually. We would like to be a little bit more land to where we could farm it a little bit more, have more cattle, and be more sustainable than we are semi-sustainable, but we can't have the amount of meat that we would need, other than chickens.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know, and I think a lot of people would say this. There's hardly anybody that's 100% self-sustaining. There's just in this broken world. I don't think there's
unless you got some old pawpaw, like old mountain man up in the mountains that's done it all his life. That's all I was.
So, but even he probably has to come down to town once in a while.
Got to get some sugar and bread, right?
Right. You can't.
Good times. This is Jen with Good Times Ahead. She said we praise God in the bad times, and that's one of the reasons they called it Good Times Ahead.
So that's like that. I love that. Yeah. So, and I was thinking, if she's talking about that name, I was thinking at some point want to change the name of my channel. Everybody knows me as Tinkerer's Wife.
Yeah.
Hey guys, yes, I was the Tinkerer's wife, and I'm somebody else now. Now I'm the Tinkerer's widow. No,
yeah.
Well, I am that.
You'll always be his wife.
Oh yeah, but I go on beyond that, So that's what I'm hoping.
Maybe have it lean to whatever God brings you to.
And that's what I think is going to happen too. So it'll be interesting.
Like people, I had like when it was just a few months after my dog, I was trying to share my emotions and do videos on Facebook just to tell people how it is because I wanted people to feel not alone.
Right.
I'd cry. I mean, I'd have crying fits and tell people, oh, I'm still trusting the Lord. But I had people like, you might need to get a therapist, and certain people do need therapists. Certain people do because they have no one else to talk to.
Yeah.
But we talk very well with each other. We talk well with our pastor. Our children talk well. You talked, pretty well with. We were very out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then because I told people that her bed stuff, y'all, I'm not gonna lie, her bed is still has not been changed.
Mm-hmm.
I vacuum it from time to time. The kids, mainly because of the kids, it's above my little girl's bed. It has not been changed since the day she died. This is going on 5 years. I have vacuumed it though for spiders. Don't freak out, everybody. Don't come after me.
It's
But
got things in it.
got like her stuff on there and a pillow and her shirt she wore, and the kids don't want that gone yet. And I can't be like, okay, you're in danger. No, I'm not in danger. That's how
There
they're
will probably come a time. Yeah.
that they're not going to heal.
We had some helium balloons that we set loose at the funeral at the cemetery.
It was teal.
They were
funeral
teal,
home
her
did
color,
for us.
and the funeral home gave them to us, and people wrote messages and stuff. We saved one for her.
One of the kids put it on her bed.
Put it on her bed, and that thing
It's like-
stayed inflated
2 years. Just
for a
about.
year or
Almost
a little over.
almost 2 years.
Were they the Mylar balloons or regular balloons?
It was a regular
regular
balloon.
helium balloon.
That is crazy.
Of course, one day one of the kids touched it, and it slowly
Yeah.
went down to nothing. But it amazed me how that the kids would check on the balloon every now and then, and like, oh, it's still.
Thank you, Lord, for Jesus.
Thank you.
Thank you, Working for Jesus. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was nice to have that. And people don't realize people grieve differently, people heal differently.
Mhm.
Like our friend, his friend from school, she lost her husband at 40 to a heart attack. He just
my.
turned 40. No, he just turned 40. She's just turned 41, and he just turned 42 or whatever, or 40.
That's young.
She hearing her story about him at home, and he didn't feel good, and of course he collapsed, and it just his heart failed him. But she is struggling so bad, and I feel so.
But her
heartbroken
baby ain't
for
like
her.
4 months.
They have 5 kids, and her baby was 4 months. Now her baby's like 8
Oh,
now.
oh my word. All the kids and
And she homeschools. She's a stay-at-home mom, and it's just. I understand she has to grieve him because she says she still misses him, and then she'll say like her birthday came up as her first. That's all the first.
those
And-
firsts are so hard.
Yeah, it's like our first anniversary was without him. The first birthday, it was just his birthday, the first birthday that he wasn't here, and she just grieves so hard. And I understand why she's grieving hard. She's you feel so heartbroken, and I try to tell her, says, my grief is different, but I pray you could find the good things that you're shown through your grieving process, the positives.
Thank you, Lord, for Jesus.
Because if you don't acknowledge them or you don't want to see them, God shows them to you. It's just
Yeah.
hard to. You just. Oh, that's
Okay.
what you were doing. So.
One of the things that, besides having people to talk to on live streams and stuff, is I journal every day, and I have like a 5x8 book that it's an art journal, but I just write in it every day, and I'll write 2, sometimes 3 or 4 pages on days I'm really prolific. But that has helped me process emotionally, mentally, all those things. I've been able to remember my husband on there.
No, sweet.
Okay, I got to quit talking about that.
Well, I swear.
It is, and those.
It's nice to have it on paper, isn't it? It's nice because you try to remember things, and
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, I know that because I've done these for years, and I know that someday I'll be gone and they will remain. And so I write them with that in mind. and I'm out there on the paper like I am with everybody here, and probably even deeper on the paper. But if my granddaughters open those up, they're going to see grandma, who they don't see very often, and learn a whole lot about me and Ben.
You're going to learn your spiritual battle and your spiritual passion and your love for God and the love for your husband, all in one little.
Yes, it's so important. It is so important when you can't.
I try to journal. I've journaled a little, but mine's like months. Oh, 6 months. Oh, a year.
Yeah. Well, I've always written to some degree, but I think, well, since marrying Ben, since before then, I started doing it on more of a regular basis. And I know people that journal, but they would get really anxiety written in if they missed a day. And I never did that because it wasn't about doing a task. It was about doing something.
I need to pray for
What?
Grandma's so happy. She said there was a lady that was like a second mom. She passed away 3 days ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
Her
that.
husband's name is Jim, and she's a pastor. So send some prayers.
We'll
Those
pray
losses are hard.
That's the hard one.
They're even harder when you've had a mom and then you have like a second mom come in, and then it's like that's what's tough too.
It's like my friend that I was telling you guys about. She's in her 80s. She's like the big sister I never had, and she has been a force of God's hand in my life and discipling me and raising me up and teaching the word. And the investment that she laid in me was golden.
I'm sure she said you've done so much for her too, hasn't she?
Yeah. Yeah, we are much like sisters too. She also gardens a lot. We're both kind of plant nerds, and
It's like me and Karen. We talk all the time, and we're so similar. It blows my mind. I told her, I said, I prayed for a little sister. I didn't realize I'd get a. She's like so many months younger than me. It's like I'm born in February, she's born in June, and her birthday's today.
You know,
And I said, it's so weird how God's like, okay, you just have to wait just a little while, and you're going to meet this person, but she's going to be so many miles away.
it is a struggle when everybody is so far away, for sure. Yeah.
every chance I get an opportunity. Every once in a while, God will present me with an opportunity to somebody will approach me
At work, yeah.
and ask me about certain
Or
stuff
prayer.
or prayer or whatever.
Because they know he's his face. It just he'll tell me sometimes, he says, like, God spoke to me when we were moved up here and told me, and I heard him, and I heard my daughter talking, and that's another video, because I don't know if I could get into that one. He's like, God hasn't spoke to me like he spoke to you, like a father. You could hear him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he speaks through you. He's speaking to you through you to these people, and that's how he's going through you.
Your spirit bears witness is what happens.
And when they come back to me, so that's God saying yes. See, you know.
And I've had people
That's cool.
just tell me, man, how did you just not even worry about taking the thing?
Oh yeah, you tell him
Because
you lost everything that's really
Just
been most
because-
important to you.
I've conquered one of the worst fears that anybody could ever have. Not really conquered it, but accepted it, and I ain't got nothing but faith, so I have no reason to worry anything other than that.
Yeah, the fear isn't ruling your life. It's you can move through it in spite of it with the strength of God gives you the faith.
I don't know how to talk to people.
Uh-huh.
Start talking, stuff just pops in my head and it comes out like it needs to come
It's
out.
really good.
And I can't
how-
remember how it come out and how to say it again.
That was so funny.
like the video where we're talking about
But-
things
over
like
fear.
faith over fear, and
Yeah.
you have wallet in the Bible,
Mhm.
work and God, and that's what it symbolized. And the way
Good, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
he's pretty good. He doesn't believe quite in himself. So, well, that's, the people coming back to you asking for prayers. God's way of saying, this is me shining through you. God is speaking through you, not necessarily at you.
I wish I could save him, but I can't. That's not my job.
Yeah, that's the Lord. But the deposit that the nurturing you're doing in this time is, I won't even know if my husband was saved until
Spirit that gives you the word.
he never received Christ that I know while he was alive. But who's to say that on that bed he didn't? After all the testimonies I gave him, and those of us that shared the
And
gospel.
God's that ultimate decider too. You know, like
Yeah.
Have you seen The Shack?
I won't read it and I won't watch it because there's a lot of extra biblical stuff in there. I'm just gonna
The
put
only thing I took away from it, I did watch the movie,
Mhm.
and I don't believe in some, like you're saying, the extra
Yeah,
biblical,
yeah.
but the point that it would kind of bring to some people from healing, like the point of your mind,
Mhm.
was spot on. But like, yeah,
This lady is.
Yeah.
But why can't? If you be speaking through me, I mean, maybe you can just let me remember what I said.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
like this is what you were saying. Do this again, right? Like,
Daddy, guess what? Did you know generators are illegal in California?
like they he
Generators, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
he said my son reads like little news articles sometimes.
That's okay.
I don't doubt it. Let's not worry about it. God's got it. There was someone who shared a picture where a guy's gardening and then the whole thing's burning down behind him.
I know.
Oh, what's happening wrong to me trying to garden? I'm like, that's me because I don't want to.
And when all of the eco-religious people are out there yelling and screaming, you know, you're destroying the planet and da 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 da. I just remember in the Word where it says that there will always be until the end comes a time for planting, sowing, reaping, and harvesting. So all that will happen, that we will always have those seasons until the end. And I thought, you know, that's something for us to look
I
forward
had a
to.
new quote too that I liked that I found somewhere. If you're gifted a handful of seeds, God will bless you with the ground to grow them in.
There you go.
That somewhere, and that you could take that so many ways. Like if God gives you this job, He will gift you the place to.
Yeah.
You know,
I know so many people that that I've met in my life over the years in churches where, you know, the husband and the wife, they work in different spheres, you know, their specialties, and God puts them out in the mission field in places where those talents are needed. And it's mind blowing because they didn't know until they got there what was going to happen. You know, a couple of them completely had no idea.
Yeah. You can't believe everything you read about. Yeah, he just tells me these little clips. I'm like, I don't doubt it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because we don't live there. And we're going to pray for everybody. We had a friend just leave California, and I think they moved to Idaho.
Oh yeah, a lot of people.
Idaho.
Idaho or Utah?
Idaho or Utah. They moved
Yeah,
to.
a lot of people are moving to Bonner, up around Coeur d'Alene, Lake Coeur d'Alene, and the Panhandle up in the top of Idaho, and then over by Sandpoint. Where there's a what's the name of this city? I know that it begins with an M. Anyway, yeah. So there's a strong Christian community on the east side, east central side, Moscow, Idaho. That's what I'm thinking of.
For K, I just need to. I have the prayer written down. We'll pray for sure. Sorry. I don't think I could ever live again. I want to. The only thing I want to go to California and do is see the Sequoia National Forest. I just want to see it.
Yeah.
But then I can do without seeing it. I would like
on
to see
TV.
it.
It looks fine to me.
Like I'd like to see it in person because it looks majestic on film and in video and pictures. But
I haven't seen it either, but I hear that it's bigger and more mind blowing than you could ever imagine.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
both
like
of you.
that waterfalls you said that's near y'all.
Yeah.
My daughter wants to see that, and I said one day we might if the world doesn't go like keep going and maybe if it kind of plateaus for a while we might.
Yeah. There's a lot of other beautiful places to go besides Multnomah Falls. I will say that I've seen some other that I think are even more beautiful.
She wants to see Niagara Falls from the U.S. side, and I think that'd be pretty cool to go see.
Yeah. There's so many things. There's so many other things here in Oregon to see. I mean, Crater Lake, that's a mind blower right there.
Crater Lake.
Crater Lake, yeah. It was actually a volcano. And when it fell in, it produced this crater, and they've got a little island out off to the side. But the water is the most beautiful blue you've ever seen, with kind of a greenish blue edge on it. It looks
Is that the one that's always on like you see online where it looks just like a big round?
Yes, round. It's
And
round.
So blue looks, and they don't know. I don't know if they know exactly.
I don't know if you know how deep it is. It's one of the deepest
Yeah.
ones around. I know that, but yeah,
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it.
yeah, it's an amazing place. I only saw it once, and that was when my mom was alive. And I was
Which it's okay. We've been chatting for a little bit longer. Miss Patty got on. We got into a good conversation. We would have been boring by ourselves.
well, I get bored by myself. Can you tell? I mean, I sit here all day with four.
I could only imagine. Yeah, well, I could only imagine when I would think of, if I didn't have my children, I was just by myself. It'd be hard to keep your mind contemplated and not going down other directions you don't want your mind going.
Yeah, it's somebody just gave me a book. I'm gonna grab it here.
You know Rich Cat?
Hi, Rich. I think they just subbed, and I need to check out these channels. Go back, make sure. Choosing Gratitude. Nancy DeMoss. I'll have to.
Nancy DeMoss Wolgamuth. Johnny Erickson Tada wrote the foreword in this, and this friend of mine, she's actually the daughter of another friend who I used to do prayer walks with every morning. Anyway, she read it. It made a huge impact on her life, and she had it on her heart. She talked about this at the day retreat we had here was a week ago. And she said, I'm going to buy you that book because it's been on my heart that you need to read this book. And I read the first chapter and the introduction and the preface. And I was just like, but it talks about, because it's the journey to joy. And one of the things I've struggled with, and I'll just say this because it's really the truth, I have had a really hard time feeling joyful.
Yeah.
And just everything feels like it feels
hug her.
I know it's okay. I cry easily, but it feels, it doesn't feel natural sometimes. You know how you want to, I feel like I want to praise God from my heart, but it feels like I'm just walking through the motions. And I know that God understands those things. And I'm still going to do it, but I want it to come with joy. I want to experience that joy. I have not had joy in my life in a very long time, and I'm ready for it.
Learning to grieve well.
Yeah, and I have been doing all that. Yeah, learning to grieve well. That's good.
Well, we've been losing people. They've been dropping off.
No, well, people have been coming in and out. You said Choose Gratitude by Nancy DeMoss. What was the last name?
Wolgamuth. Wolgemuth.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a book too that was given to us when our daughter passed away. It was called Losing Cooper. And it was actually it was weird how he knew his wife. But they lost a little boy. He was 5 in a UTV accident.
Oh my God, that'd be hard.
And the dad would take him, do like a little spin out like they always did, but the poor little boy wound up, and I think he turned over and broke his neck.
Wow. You just
but I've yet to get through the first few pages of this book. I'm going to eventually. I know I will, but it's like all of the stuff they love the characters Peanuts and all that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like Peanuts and because he talks about the Charlie Brown like comics and so I got through that okay, but then I hit a wall when it came to saying when they were in the hospital and they had to go in the room and his little precious body was under a white sheet, and I couldn't go no further because my grief I didn't want to remember that part.
Right.
So because she was taking the emergency room and then she was under a white sheet and we had to go say her goodbyes but I'm going to eventually get through that book because it's a good book and I don't want to skip. I'm going to reread it and try again.
Yeah, and in time you'll get there because I know for me it's been a process too. Certain things I couldn't do. I still haven't been to our pizza place where Ben and I used to go, and I'm craving the pizza, but it's hard.
And yeah, like we have a place. It's a taco place, and she loved the bean burritos there, and it took was it a year?
Almost.
I think
yeah.
it was a year, but
Before you went
we had
back.
the kids too, and it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally went back finally, and it took a while. It did. It did take a while. You'll get there. It's just
Yeah.
you have to get there with a solemn heart and just like, okay, God, be with me. And
Yeah. And you go through, if you have to cry in public, you have to cry in public. I have learned it's okay to cry in public. Rich Cat Ranch, I saw your comment there about the relationships with animals. One of the things I know that would help me a lot is if I had a dog.
yeah, you
And I
can't have
want
one
one
right
so
now.
bad it hurts. But I can't have one
You
here.
can't have one right now.
It's not time. I know it's not time. And just being able to afford a dog because it's expensive. I'm going to have to pay for pet insurance because if you have an animal, it's expensive to go to the vet here. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. So we'll see what happens. But God knows I want a dog. I keep saying you're going to have to bring one on my front porch.
Now when you're ready.
Oh, if we have Bassets, we might have to make a trip just so and Patty's got the place at the time, you know. Oh no, not yet.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Christy. You know, and I think that after everything that a lot of us have been through, that having that restoration of joy is something a lot of us could use because we've been through a traumatic 2+ years, 2 years, because it's been just over 2 years now with COVID and everything.
I bumped it.
She bumped the table.
Good night.
Well, like after your husband passed away, it was just what, a month or a week. Our neighbor across the street, her husband had a heart attack too, and it was just
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah, it's so funny, these little things, because I'll have people go, they know that I know what it's like, and so to lose someone, and so they'll reach out to me.
now
They
they could reach out to you now, and people like
You're right, Christy. We will see them again.
I have friends who say, I don't know how to help this person. What do I do? What I need to do to help? And I try to tell them, you know, the aspects that the parents might not think of at the time that you have to do for a kid. Like I had to buy clothing bigger than what she wore, stuff like that. I'm like, just prepare, just say, be there for the mom when she's picking clothes, and kind of tell, well, maybe, you know, you might want to pick an extra size bigger just in case, and not to tell the mom. That was the most horrific thing that I had to go through. But people talk to you about it. Just if you have any questions, I tell my friends, just ask me.
Yeah.
Do my best.
Yeah, give them the freedom to ask questions. I think that's a big one. You know, it's like when I was going through the depths of my grief, you know, I would say, it's okay. And you can talk about him. It's okay. Talk about him. Ask me questions. I need to talk about him.
That's what gets me. People don't understand. Even your good friends do not understand. And it breaks people's heart. It broke my heart. Like, even to this day, when I don't get checked on the day she died, like I have to go to her birthday, unless you post about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I just would love for a good friend just to say, hey, I know, I just wanted to check on you today. And when your friends stop doing that at like year 2, it breaks your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to say, okay, they have to do it. No, they don't have to. But when you have such a good friend that you've had for longer, but I've had friends for shorter like you, and other people check on me. We've had lifelong or almost lifelong friends.
Yeah.
They don't say nothing. It really does eat away at you.
My own family. And I will say this, I am the worst. I always tell people, I'm not the person who will send a card, a note. I might call you on the phone on your birthday. If I send you something as a present, feel very blessed because it's something that I just knew that you know, it's like God just said they need this or they would like this.
Yes.
That's just how it is with me. And so I'm not very good at remembering things like that. And I know that a lot of people in our culture, it's like, it's almost, you need to remember birthdays. You need to send Christmas cards. And I'm like, I don't need to do any of that. I will when
some birthdays we haven't gone to the grave site. Like we have gone, but the first and the second, but there's some, I think the 16th birthday, I just
Yeah.
People are like, I don't understand why you hadn't gone. I'm like, y'all just don't get it.
She's not
Like,
there.
I know she's not there, but when I'm there, I don't know if it's like with you. If you ever go, if you've gone, you have such a strong bodily connection to what's in that dirt.
Yeah.
Like, that's the last time you saw them, and that's just, they're there, and you
Yeah.
just can't do nothing about it. And your body and your soul and your mind and your heart just goes everywhere.
I do that with my parents. They're buried at Willamette National Cemetery, which is not far from me here. Especially my mama, because she was so close to me. And my husband, he was cremated, and he's in a box that has a guitar on it. My son bought this thing, and he said, I want to ask you before I buy this, but
Macy.
as a family would like to have Ben with us on the mantle. And I said, go for it. Go for it. I've got things that remind me of him. I can go other places that we spent time together and remember him. I don't necessarily need that place, but I can go to their home anytime I need to, and I can.
In a way, I wish I had her. If his mother hadn't passed and she wasn't buried right next to him, I probably would have cremated her. Or if some, but then, and I kind of, in a way, I wish I did, to have like a little, like I could do a little jewelry or something to always kind of touch or know, like, but it's hard, because I told her, I said, if we ever move, I don't want, but I have to realize that's not her, but I wouldn't want her so far away that I couldn't go and.
Well, when I was going through the house, I had to really look at things and decide what was the most meaningful thing of his that I wanted to take. Because God knows I couldn't take a lot of the stuff, that other people might say, well, how can you get, it's like the boxes. People wanted me to take the garden boxes. It's like, do you know how much work that would be? I don't even have a place to put them. How could you leave those? He built those for you. Those were a gift. And I said, and I got to use them for 3 summers. That's cool. That's good. That's all I need. It's a memory. I have pictures.
And when you got video, though, that's what's amazing.
Yeah, I got
videos making them.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that, and everybody requires different kinds of things to remember somebody by. I have earrings that were my mother's. I have a ring, a beautiful ring that was my father's, and it looks really good on my hand, and it's a guy's ring, which really makes me laugh. And I get a lot of comments on it, but I don't have a lot of things because things aren't going to bring them back. And I know that I learned that.
I still struggle with that, like her clothes. Like I've handed down her clothing, which I guess has been a little easier. But there's certain clothing that I've actually put aside to maybe make something out of. And her schoolwork, that's been real hard on me. I've held on to, because it's her handwriting, and we've gradually like, okay, we'll keep a piece here and here, and then throw this away. You don't need this.
Have you ever thought about making I know how sometimes people will take grandpa's flannel shirts and then make a blanket out of it.
Yeah, I have. I've saved some baby clothes that way to do maybe pretty much of everybody. I've also been wanting to put, I'm going to read this. I've also been putting little things aside where I can make a memory box, like her baby items. I found the other day in our shed, which shouldn't have been in our shed. It's supposed to have been in my dresser when we moved.
Oh yeah.
I found it shed, and I had to cry over it because it was her little baby bracelet. And this, I'm like, I'm going to put that away. Y'all need to go to your room and get quit putting your feetsies all over you. So
those boxes, where they put the precious things in.
Yeah, I want them to have it too, not just because she's passed. I want them to have one too, but
sure,
I'm going to try to figure that. And then her baby clothes, I want to do even just a throw quilt to have every now and then to see. My sister-in-law died last year, and my nephew's 17. My brother has had her ashes, but now he said it's time to bury her. They live in Texas.
Yeah,
that's hard, especially if you're too far away from someone. That's why my brother said the other day, the memories. Yeah. Well, another aspect Grandma was so happy is, I think it's Bonnie.
Yeah, that's Bonnie.
And what's nice too, I mean, you have her ashes. There's many, many wonderful memorialization artists that can make rings, that can make little rocks or necklaces, so you could have at least one piece if you wanted. to keep it, but
there's artists that do paintings and will put the ashes in the painting. And I don't know if they're trying to use the ashes like they did with the Mount St. Helens ash. I don't know if you could even do this, because with Mount St. Helens ash, they can make glazes out of it, and they do hand blown glass and stuff like that. I don't know if they can use something.
ashes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, and my granddaughter's got I didn't need his ashes. It's like, to me, it's like carrying a dead person around. To me, it doesn't do anything for me. So I appreciate everybody's want to do that otherwise, but
You're not
Yeah.
going to. She's going to bed.
Kids are like, y'all need to go get your night clothes and change. Get your baby.
the funny thing, my son was sharing his youngest daughter, Hannah. He said, now don't be surprised if Hannah grabs his ashes and takes him on a trip. And I said, fine. I just want pictures. I just want
Yeah.
where she took Grandpa Ben.
Your pictures. Yeah. That's what
I might even go on that trip with her. Just for the heck of it. That'd be
a healing process, right?
Yeah, so yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I've got a couple of Ben's shirts. They actually are the same fabric, and I'm gonna make a bear. I probably have somebody else do it because I don't have a sewing machine. Make a bear for her. That's the one thing that she wanted.
Yeah,
was-
I have a specific
that
shirt that I tried to start ripping up. It was hard. I mean, I quit. I was gonna make a bear out of it too,
Yeah.
just to put it, or Snoopy. I thought about making up. It was a plaid outfit. I'm gonna make it.
And every time I see Snoopy T-shirts or whatever, I always think of you guys all the time.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
so sweet.
and the local Fred Meyer's, which is a Kroger store, they have clothing and stuff in there, and they had Snoopy shirts in there, and I was like, I don't know what anybody's size is. I can't buy anybody a shirt.
Good night. Thanks for coming.
I'm fixing to have to go too because I'm right there with you.
He's it's getting past
I
it.
know. I'm thinking you guys are staying up really late because it's like 8:00 here.
I'm more of
Oh,
a
no
night.
wonder it's still
I stay
daylight
up.
there.
I know you always need to go to sleep because you always work so hard during the day. So
Thank you.
I try to tell people that. Some people are like, "Hey, he's so." I'm like, he works like y'all. It's like
yeah,
8 hours, and he's there for 4 more hours, like an hour drive and an hour back. That's
that's
4
a lot of hours.
like
So
12
yeah,
hours he's missing out of his life at
just
work.
for sleep. So anytime you want to just trundle off to bed, just go right ahead.
Well, that little man has already.
Yeah, he just fell asleep on my lap.
Okay. Yeah, so,
I'm here too.
He just got a little bit of mess in him, so he's probably feeling a little bit better and finally fell asleep on me.
oh, that's good. I hope he feels better.
It's just like, how you get a cold or congestion and
Well, there has been a late spring.
barely congested. It's just like, oh, I don't feel good
We were
kind
in
of.
the mountains and it was like 10 degrees cooler up there.
And I
but
think,
you
and that
come back
happens when we
here,
go through weather changes. We
thinking
come
maybe-
back and get like a little sore, or they get a little earache, and it's weird how it
We're
happens.
sensitive to that, I think. Yeah, that's true.
But 10 p.m. in Arkansas. It's 10 here as well.
And there,
Time is
so
Saturday.
it's 8 here. We're 2 hours behind you guys. Yeah, which isn't too bad.
Daylight. Look at that.
Yeah, we still got. Yeah, the sun probably just set here about a half hour ago. I can't really tell because there's clouds out there, but
That's weird how it works. That's crazy.
Albany, it's Amanda. Albany. How are you feeling, Amanda? You've been sick. I've been praying about you. Hopefully, you're feeling a whole lot better.
Yes, we're still on Amanda, or they're still talking a little bit more to me. I'm kind of fading.
He's kind of
from the
fading off,
background.
like, hey,
yeah, you're over there in Eastern Standard
in
Time,
Minnesota.
daylight time.
Yeah,
So
at that event, at that festival, there was a lady drove from Canada by herself.
Oh my gosh, this was
There
so
was people
unique.
from Montana, from Minnesota, from Arkansas,
California.
from California.
That blew my mind.
All
I'm like,
over the United States, people came to that festival.
oh wow, that
and the lady
something
from
I would
Canada
do.
just walked up to Robin, and we had a wagon. He said he liked the tires on her wagon or something. And he said, "You want to trade?" He said, "I thought she Amanda thought I was serious." And she says, "Really?" And then they struck up a conversation, and she thought my oldest, or Mackenzie, was that your wife? He's like, "No, that's my daughter. My wife's coming down. She was talking to us about she's coming." And somehow he told her about that story of her daughter and everything, and it's weird. He told her about Madison, and she walked off. She said, She came back. He said, "I didn't mean to make you cry." She said, "I just don't know how people do it." And she said, "It's nice talking to you. Thank you for sharing." And then later that day, he said, "There she is right there." And I tapped her on the shoulder. She says, "I want to give you a hug." And she hugged me. And it's just amazing.
It's
It's
the
just,
last time we saw her that day.
it's the last time I saw her. She's from Quebec, actually. Same place Karen's from. And
Good night, Miss Patty. Miss Patty Gilbert.
You watched it? Sincere Joy?
oh, she did. It was nice. We really didn't have the money to go, but
Enough.
we bit the bullet.
Do you understand?
We were, we hadn't gone nowhere with the kids, and
Yeah.
Lexi wanted to go for her birthday anyway. But before, they did drop the price in the tickets. But before, I was like, there ain't no way. I'm like, okay, we'll go. And then it wound up turning into a little blessing circle, which we're glad we did.
Yeah.
We'll do
It's a
video
pretty-
and explain
pretty
that to
amazing.
y'all. We don't want to read nothing right now, so we'll explain all the blessings to y'all in a video.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for that one. So
My bedtime tonight because we have a sniff spot guest coming at 7:30 tomorrow morning. I have to scoop horse poop out of the barn,
oh boy,
arrive, and turn out the flock. Oh,
better be.
tired listening to you.
Well, Grandma's so happy he's going to bed too. Night.
Night.
And
Oh,
I-
that's Bonnie telling Patty.
Yeah. And I should let you guys go anyway. So, and I can feel the adrenaline starting to flow out. So I need to.
After the conversation, you're kind of like, wow, I needed that. It's kind of like a relief.
This was fun. It's refreshing to sit and have
And
conversations.
that's why we like sharing the link, because even during the day, I have some newbies come on, and there's a lot of people there that feel alone. I'm like, I just like people to know they could talk to people, without thinking you're crazy.
Are you doing your morning talks at a specific day?
No, I kind of went spur of the moment live the other day because I was on someone else's live and people still wanted to chat. So I threw up a live, and it's a bunch of newbie like YouTubers, which are very great people I've met so far.
Oh, they're fun to, yeah.
And you kind of have your little stages. You got like, okay, so for instance, you had Mr. Danny, they've been a while, and then you have like the Stivers, and they were there, and they've been a little bit longer than us, and then
Yeah.
just stages and people, and a lot of people don't know the new people or these channels unless you find them and chat with them. That's what's
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny because some of these new people will be the bigger channels later on. And we're just like, wow. Because that's going to happen, especially if they do it like they should, or they have that special something that people love to watch. So
yeah, exactly.
for sure. This has just been a good time, but I really appreciate it. And
But we're always here to listen.
yeah, well, and
I like talking with others too. We're not always confined to our little homestead,
yeah, I hear you. I see my world has gotten so small. I use every opportunity I get to break out.
And it's nice to talk to your friends that have been around since everything changed.
Yeah, and we had one of those kind of all over the place conversations tonight too, which was different.
Yeah,
So that's the kind of conversation you like to have. It's like,
they kind of make a full circle. In a
you're
way.
like, what do we really talk about?
And everybody's like, where are they going with this? Wait a minute. They always talk about that. Well, it kind of does. It's all connected.
Yeah, because I get on live sometimes, and the people are talking about everything that everybody talks about for prepping and all of that. It's like, how many times can I hear this? I just kind of get that way after a while.
Well, I don't like the gloom and doom all the time. I can hear it. Okay, there's some ones that are good. I'm like, okay, I do. I need to do this. I do this and that. But then I'm like, okay, I trust in God.
Yeah, and I'm in a unique situation here. I honestly have no room. I'd have to hang stuff from the ceiling. So
I like these conversations where these lives where it's just like a visit and you just chatting. That's what I like.
Bonnie says, keep her in a prayer. She hurt her hip last week.
oh, okay.
She's barely able to move.
Oh no.
We'll send some prayers.
I'm like that every morning. I'm barely able to move.
Get there.
Get the cattle prod out after you get you out of bed.
Yeah, that would help.
Well, I respect all these channels that are talking about that all the time, but then there's times I love them to death, but I just can't. I have to shut it off.
Yeah.
Because that kind of talk, if you hear it all the time, it brings you down slowly, little by little.
Yeah, that's exactly. There was like so much of it going on, and I just wanted. This is starting to get depressing. I just going places I don't want to mentally, and
Like I watch Appalachia Homestead with Patera. I love her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's not always gloom and dim. I just like she's like, you better get food. Y'all need to do this. And then she jokes around and I can watch her.
Yeah.
I just can't be like, oh, if you hadn't started food now, if you don't have so much food in your pantry, y'all gonna die. I'm like, oh Lord.
That's the kind of stuff I just can't take. I'm like, click, change the channel.
Y'all, no, I'm not gonna die. God's got me somehow. If I die, I'm going to heaven. I'll be okay.
And honestly, I mean, I keep thinking about the rich man who got all of his silos full, and he said, "Okay, now I will be fine." And then God required his life of him. He didn't even get to enjoy that stuff.
I did like her new video, Jen. It was
Oh,
funny.
Tara's.
Yeah,
that
she's a hoot though. I like her. That's why I kind of watch her, even though she's got like she puts good messages out there.
Yeah.
But she's so
Yeah.
fun with it.
I like her when she does the history on the Indians.
Oh,
up
yeah,
there.
she
I
does
really
it.
like
Oh,
it.
That's fun. Yeah, she's good at that stuff. Definitely. That's always really interesting. So,
Should be
well, I'm
good.
going to say goodnight. I'm going to be here doing like a Southern goodbye for 2 hours, and then it will be.
Oh, you're not from the South, but we'll do the Southern goodbye, right? Oh, Heirloom Pool Culture just came in.
Oh man, you guys, I'm getting ready to go. Darn.
Hope y'all are doing well. We have a 2 hour and 15-minute live. We did a good one. Just 'cause we had-
Long bang.
we had almost 8 people sticking around the whole time.
Good night, Rich Cat Ranch.
We're gonna try to do Friday Night Lives every Friday. We're
Love
trying to
this.
get our little giveaway together.
Yeah, I think
Um,
you guys are one of the few that do them on. Well, especially this late Friday night. Nobody's doing it this late Friday night.
Yeah,
Well, y'all lucky to have me awake this late.
I know. I'm feeling like really blessed.
yes. We can praise God and have 2 hands. We can praise God. We have dirty dishes. But you want to see my dish? Yeah. Thank you for that one, Bonnie. Or like clothes over here that's got a school book and
All the things that show there's life going on in that house.
we've been in the gym for 2 hours.
Oh my!
I need to go to the gym. Don't remind me.
Oh,
We need to like run. I run after chickens. I'm good.
I work out.
yeah. Well, good night, y'all. It's been lovely. God bless. I hope y'all have a good weekend.
Good time since you did Yogi Holla for us. Oh, we're special. No, I'm just
Good night.
and I stole her hamper. I have like 4 of them that have broke handles.
Oh,
Bye, Miss Patty. We love you.
okay. Love you guys too.
If you have any prayers, send me a message.
Okay, will do.
Night, y'all. Okay, y'all. She's a sweetheart. We love Miss Patty.
We staying on for a minute. Talk some
Anybody else
people?
want to talk? You can real quick before we go, if you like.
Okay,
I'll
she's
post a link. If anybody wants to just say hey, or Jen wants to say hey, Jen, I go live with some of the ladies with Jen. It's good times ahead in the morning. That was a good off the wall roundabout conversation though. I'm sleep chatting. Oh, I love it. Hopefully everybody's having a good week though. Try to keep positive, remain faithful though. Whatever you're worried about, write it. Oh, I tell my friend I need to do it too. Whatever you're praying for, write it down. Whatever you're hoping for, write it down. And to have that written down. Sorry, I'm gonna move my little table here. Have that written down so you can.
We've gradually lost people through this chat, and we've got some new people in here we hadn't seen
Yeah,
before.
some nice new people. It's nice to get some newbies.
You know, like
Newbies.
Eric from Kansas and then Valent.
And Amanda, yes, next time we need to have a chat. She's very knowledgeable about stuff. I want to do I have a channel called Homestead Sisterhood. There's nobody on it, but it's called Homestead Sisterhood. I made one for him that had Homestead Brotherhood, and I would like it to eventually to have where we just talk to like-minded women in the homestead,
Like a support.
like
thing.
a support group. Y'all know,
You
like
girls
what we're
stop,
doing here,
please.
but
Please,
have a
please,
bunch of
please.
women come on and chat and talk about how they've done this or how they can. And he could talk about tractors or whatever and how, men or prayer,
Stuff that I know about.
So we hadn't done it yet. I hadn't really pushed it out there yet, but I did I have the shirts. I did a group called Homestead Sisterhood. It's a Facebook page and a YouTube page, and he's got Homestead Brotherhood. But one day, I like to do something like this, and we just can have like brotherhood and sisterhood chats or homestead homies.
He's sad.
That reminds me of Clueless, rolling with the homies. That's ancient, y'all. He's like, that's too weird for me. That's back in the day. He's laughing at me. He's laughing at me, newbies. Homestead newbies. That would be awesome. Community building, wisdom sharing. That's what I wanted about like it's faith, family, farming. I had on friendship, faith, family, and friendship or something like that on the shirts when I did it. So we're gonna maybe try to launch that eventually. It'd be nice to have to talk like to Miss Patty and other people. OG Homestead homies, Jennifer said. I thought about doing that little thing like when I have our TikTok, hey Homestead homies, and be funny. You know, people love that stuff. But I'm not to say a Homestead homie. I wanted something different that didn't sound like I'm from what, Clueless? Or my day and age from 2000. Yeah, it's Homestead Sisterhood. So there's a Facebook group. I think we have like 50 women in there. And we have a YouTube page called Homestead Sisterhood. I haven't launched like any intros or that yet. I just made it. And then there's a Homestead Brotherhood. There's a group for the guys. And there's a YouTube page for the guys. So we could all chat. So if there's a group, you can find it. Let's see if I can see real quick. I'm going to see if I can link it. All right, let me find the link. So this is the sisterhood one. We got a few ladies in here. I want to see if I can share it real quick in the chat so y'all can go directly to the link while my husband gets tired. Okay, share group, copy link, and go to my video here, y'all. Because I think it'd be nice to have like a chat with people that share the, like-minded. Where'd it go? Your channel.
Consider Joy shared it for you.
Oh, it might. Oh yeah, good. Thank you. She was a moderator. I didn't know if she.
I didn't know because there wasn't no blue wrenches nowhere.
It's over here. I have to have two screens up, so I'm trying to. Got good times as a moderator too. And, good times with Genesty. Yeah, I just did that. Thank you. I appreciate it. So there's the lady group. Go back. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now. Lady group.
The girls.
There's a brotherhood one if she hadn't found it yet. I'm gonna try to find the YouTube link real quick. And then there's the Homestead Brotherhood group, which we have a few guys in there. Let's see. Homestead Sister. Here is the channel. If I can go back to. Usually it's hard to find it because I hadn't really posted anything. I'll have to post it in the description if y'all want to come back to it. It's hard to find it.
Probably because it ain't very popular.
No, it doesn't have no subscribers. That's why. The Brotherhood. Okay, let me see. Hold on. I'm a moderator to that one, so.
No, this is not Mosaic.
What is it?
That Doug Douglas guy. This isn't a Mosaic, is it?
This isn't a Masonic?
No, it's not.
No. No, it's not.
See you later.
Sorry, it's just a Homestead conversation. Oh, here, let me find the Brotherhood. All right, let me see. This one's fairly new. That's probably why. Let me share it. Share the group. Share group. Copy link. Hold on, y'all. I'm getting it. All right, here's the Brotherhood one.
I don't even know about the Brotherhood one.
I added him. I just started again for the guys, just in case.
Yes, good people.
I will post a link in those groups to the YouTube page. There we go.
All right, y'all. See y'all later.
So there we go. Hopefully that. Okay, I'm in the right spot. Oh, were you being rerouted, Doug, to a whole bunch of different places? We were about to close our live, but we're going to go live again next Friday. And sometimes I go live earlier during the week. Night. Love you.
Night, guys.
Thanks for coming in. If you like kind of recap. You can kind of recap what we went over. If you like it, you can
Right.
subscribe.
In the morning, can we eat
Say
pigs in a blanket?
bye. Pigs in the blanket. I don't have the little biscuit stuff, but I was gonna make biscuits and sausage probably. Here, give me a hug.
Oh, Mama.
Freemasons have
What
my
about
mind
the
all
donuts
over
you
the place.
always used to make? Like the little powder donuts?
Oh, the
powder sugar donut?
homemade
Yeah.
donut. I have to get a
I
different
love
recipe.
it.
We'll try that again later.
Yeah.
But thanks everyone. You can go to those pages if you like to join. And I will post the links to the YouTube page. I'll try to probably share it later where we could chat, do that later. Have like chats with women alike. 'Cause you know how some of the guys will come in and chat with the ladies like I'm outnumbered, but I like chatting with everybody. So night, my kids. Night. We love y'all. Thank you so. Miss Bonnie, Grandma so happy says give all y'all a hug. Oh, give a hug. Oh,
Ow, my face.
oh, your neck popped. Well, good night. We appreciate y'all watching, and
Bye.
thanks for being a blessing
Make
to us.
sure you like and subscribe.
Bye, y'all. Good night.
Night. Bye, guys. Good night. Bye, guys.